You are now tuned into Somewhere in the Middle with Soonie and Mo.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay.
Hey, Don on the beat.
I got so many ops.
Everywhere I go, I got
so many ops.
so many ops.
I know they plotting against me. I know it's hate, they wanna kill me, but please don't tempt me, cause I got so many glocks. Hey, ain't none of them empty. Jesus said they would hate me too. That's how I know it's envy. I got so many ops.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Happy Friday. We've been gone for a while. We know you missed us. We missed us, but we're back. We're back and we're happy to be back. We have a lot of topics. I don't think we even really missed anything when we were gone because, you know, the news cycle and how it goes. But Soonie and I both had interesting vacations, to say the least. We were both in cold climates, and I don't know if that's what lended to the madness of it all, but yeah, let me just say this. I was reinforced on the repeal the 19th motto that Soonie lives by. I love the ladies that I travel with. However, there was one particular lady that was batshit fucking crazy. And like, I just don't understand how somebody could be like that. But I'm not going to talk about put people's business out there. I'm trying to stay saved. That's what I told Soonie. I'm trying to stay saved. Soonie's trying to stay saved. Yeah. You trying to stay safe too, right?
Now, I'm pretty honest about what I think. I held my tongue because I felt it was appropriate, but I also kind of didn't. I let people know what I think. I just kind of did it in a nice way.
Oh, yeah.
In a nice way. I'm still recovering, guys. Being in the snow for a week straight and skiing and snowboarding
for sure
and staying up late, it's just not the life for me. I'm 33 and I'm going to start acting like it.
Be in bed by 10.
You're right. I was in bed by like 9
Yeah.
o'clock every night on my vacation.
Forget 10, 9 o'clock.
Yeah. And pardon me, guys, if I'm still hacking up a lung and I'm breathing like a tree monster. You know, I was sick before we left for Colorado, and being up in that high altitude really like agitated my lungs. And yeah, I'm just like short of breath all the time.
I just want to say I'm glad that you guys are both back here safely to join us on this show. Obviously, you had square-jawed pilots in charge of your plane.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
to make sure it was a safe landing. So thank you.
White pilots. I had
square-jawed
white
pilots. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
I had Asian pilots, so.
hey, they got like a little square jaw at the bottom, I think, sometimes.
That's even more amazing because Asian people can't drive. I can't imagine them flying a plane.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did go there.
She said it, I didn't. So nobody get mad at me this time.
I left frame.
Why you leave the frame? It's a fact.
I could have the clip out there.
Good Lord. You can't say anything now, man. I was watching kind of on the subject. I was watching what's her name? Danny Lee. She was with Da Baby for a little bit.
Yeah.
And they had a personal fallout live on the internet because she had said he likes light-skinned women and you're upset.
Oh.
And a part of me was like, okay, he likes light-skinned women. And then I kind of delved in deeper, and people were so upset that she did an interview centered around being Afro-Latina, and she's like, yeah, I'm not black, so, you know, I don't want to be a part of it. And people got so offended, so upset and so offended that she is saying that she's not black. It just kind of baffled me. Like, you're not allowed to say anything anymore.
Because if you're black, you have to pick the black side.
Well, yeah, from Mariah Carey. That's why. remember that Mariah Carey?
Yes.
And Tiger Woods.
God, I do remember that.
Yeah, man.
I mean, yeah, that's a whole nother subject. That's a whole nother subject. But people are just sensitive. Let's just put it lightly. You guys are sensitive.
For sure. I think people don't know how to take jokes anymore in this world.
They don't know how to take jokes. They don't know how to take an objective truth. They don't know how to take a different opinion. They don't know how to take a dissenting opinion.
Nope.
They don't know how to do much anymore.
Nope. Everybody's soft. Soft.
And speaking of inconvenient truths, did you know that Travis Kelce invented the fade haircut?
Oh gosh, we are not talking about that. Are you? I knew you were going to bring that up. I knew you were going to.
It's true though. Like, you know, he's at an iconic status right now because of his relationship with Taylor Swift, and never has a haircut, you know, been so popular. I guess the last time it was this popular was when Jennifer Aniston had the Rachel haircut from Friends.
Oh gosh.
So we can thank Travis Kelce for inventing this haircut, the fade.
But I refuse to listen to anything he says about anything. So what did he actually say? I invented the fade?
No, his barber was trying to take credit for it because everybody saw Travis has been faded up for years, you know, ever since he had his past 2 black girlfriends. Right. But his barber now is trying to take credit, saying that him and Travis invented this intricate haircut. That's called the Travis Kelce. And people are asking for it by Travis's name. And somebody else said, like, if he wins the Super Bowl again, it's going to be a haircut that's world renowned. And at least Travis came out a couple of days ago saying that it was ludicrous to say that he invented the haircut and it was wrong for them to put that article out on the first day of February. Because he got thrown to the savages.
Oh my God. So Jay, since you're the only one that goes to a barber shop on this show, I would like to request the next time you go that you ask for the Travis Kelce and then come back and I would like to see what it looks like.
But typically Travis Kelce is like, you know, number 7 on the chart. Like if you go in the barber shop, you see the men, you know, like the haircut styles up there, you can like point to the number. He's typically the number 7. That's the John. I called it the John B. That's my age. The John B. You know what I mean?
I love John B.
Yeah.
I love John B. Don't even go there.
I'm not, but that's how long that particular cut has been around, right? Like, but I guess people are just discovering it, and it's a whole new thing getting credited to Travis Kelce, just like Taylor Swift invented swag surfing a couple of weeks back.
Wow.
Did either of you guys watch the Grammys?
No, I never watched that.
I watched bits and pieces of it.
Did you? What'd you think of it? I watched it on the plane on the way back.
I don't. I'm just sick of seeing like the same people nominated for every single category.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's like you have a handful of people that are in the same category over and over again. So it just makes it very anticlimactic. And and I don't know how Taylor Swift won again for album of the year.
Yeah. Perfectly said, Soonie. Whatever. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Like, well, number one, I hardly knew anybody that was at that award show. Like Tracy Chapman, she was amazing. I was like, wow, dude, Tracy Chapman looks really, really
Who is
cool.
that?
Tracy Chapman, she sings that
Fast Car,
Give Me One Reason to Stay Here. She's like an old from back in my day. Okay? Early 90s. I would play the song, but anyway, I
was born in the 90s. The hell are you talking about back in your day?
Well, but you were born in the 90s, so you wouldn't have been listening to her music because you were young. But like in those days, that's Tracy Chapman was she was like the Sinead O'Connor, like, you know, like Sinead O'Connor was really big back then. Anyways, she did a duet with
Luke Combs.
Yeah. And it's a real interesting story because Luke Combs talks about how that was like one of the first songs his dad ever played for him was Fast Car. And it was like a dream of his to sing with her. So to see them up on stage singing, and it was like, I love that song. I love that song.
I love that moment because I think it gave the good old boys a heart attack seeing Luke Combs up there with a black female queer artist, right? Yeah, and good old country boy and Luke Combs doing, and a lot of people, you know, credited him with the song, of course, but then he rightfully, you know, said that this is a cover of what Tracy Chapman did and brought her on stage. First time she's performed in I don't know how many years to share that moment with him, which I liked a lot. Yeah, personally. Yeah, that was very powerful.
And then, of course, there was that, you know, the viral moment of Jay-Z winning Album of the Year, and people
he got that humanitarian award thing.
The Dr. Dre humanitarian award, right? Yeah. Anyways, he took the time while he was up there accepting his award to make mention of the fact that his wife Beyonce had won, you know, a ton of Grammys, but had never won Album of the Year, kind of slamming Taylor Swift because she won Album of the Year, and people were comparing it to Kanye being up there, and I did not see the comparison. I was like, it's not the same thing.
How's
the only
Did
the
you
only
see
comparison.
I did see it. They said the exact same thing. He just said it with more couth. That's it.
Well, but here was my thing. Okay, when Jay-Z did it, he was up there accepting an award for himself. So he can use the time to say, I think, whatever he wants, right? And of course, that was his wife. Whether we agree with what he said or not, that doesn't matter. I don't really find anything wrong with him being up there and saying that. Kanye walked up while somebody else was accepting their award and interjected. It was like, I just want to say Beyonce had the best album of the year award and she should have won this award. His was a little bit less tasteful. I don't think what Jay-Z said was necessarily untrue. At the same time, I was just kind of like, get over it. She's won like 38 freaking Grammys. Like, give me a break. Who cares? So that was my thought on it. I really didn't think it was that big of a deal. What were you going to say, Jay?
I think Jay-Z was speaking to the bigger moment of the fact that the last time a Black woman has won album of the year was in 1999 with Lauryn Hill. And anytime Taylor Swift puts out an album, it's considered to be the best. And she used her Grammy speech earlier in the night to announce that she has a new album coming out later on this year, which is probably going to win album of the year next year. But it's the same thing though. Like, people call Kanye crazy when he went on stage to bash Taylor Swift, saying that Beyonce should have won album of the year, back then, right at the MTV Awards. Same thing. Same thing in my opinion, saying that, that Beyonce should have won, or at least been nominated, right? Yeah. In that category for Renaissance, which I'm not a Beyonce fan at all, but yet when you see what's up there, and a lot of people who are fans of Taylor Swift said that her Midnight's album was not her best.
I would know, because I didn't even know she had an album. I haven't listened to a Taylor Swift song in I don't know how long.
Not since like that high school gym teacher song, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Cheer captain bleachers, yeah.
Exactly. It's just dumb. I mean, we all know what it is. Everything's politics. Everything is, it is what it is.
Those people in the room voting, like they're not in the room voting, but you know what I mean? Like, get their ballots in the mail and just kind of mark with what they're familiar with.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so let's go over the topics for tonight. While we're doing that, please make sure to hit that like button wherever you're watching from. If you're watching from somewhere in the middle, please make sure to subscribe to Somewhere in the Middle. If you're not watching from Somewhere in the Middle on YouTube, head over to Somewhere in the Middle on YouTube and subscribe there. That helps us out a great deal. For some reason, I have not even seen comments, which I don't understand. Oh, there they are. I just had to refresh. And yes, RIP Tony Keith, Judy. You are correct. So I'm going to Toby Keith. Sorry. Did I say Tony? Oh, because she said Tony. I just read what was on the thing. I don't listen to Toby Keith, but RIP. All right. So today we're going to be talking about a lot of topics, but we have some like bigger topics, and then we'll kind of intertwine some of the other topics in between. But obviously we're going to be commenting on the Putin Tucker Carlson interview. We're going to be discussing the Supreme Court potentially ruling on whether Trump will be kicked off the Colorado ballot. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. And people are losing their minds over that. Biden, he's had another great, bunch of gaffes and moments where it's a little concerning. It's becoming more concerning as to his mental capability to run the country. And, people even on the liberal media side are commenting on that. So we're going to talk about it because they are basically saying, he's too old to remember what he did with some documents, but yeah, he's good to run the country. And people are like, I don't know about that. And then I saw an interesting episode of The View where Sunny Hostin got the terrible, terrible news that her family was slave owners. And she is devastated. She's devastated because never in her wildest dreams as a Puerto Rican and Black woman would she have imagined that her family, who has Spanish roots, could have possibly owned slaves. So we'll play that little clip there. Then there was a clip from Suki with the good coochie. I know Soonie loves talking about her. You love her too?
Yes. Yeah, okay. I do.
I figured you like these types of women. You the sexy women.
I love me some Suki.
Yeah.
Suki, I'm the goat.
Well, Sukiana the GOAT apparently doesn't know she is a musician, and she got into a argument with Bobby Altoff from the Really Good Podcast when Bobby referred to her as a musician. She was a little bit confused, so we're going to play that clip. Then 50 Cent lashes out at Mayor Eric Adams of New York City about the gift cards that they're giving to the illegal immigrants, or they're proposing to give to the illegal immigrants. And Joy Reid had to comment on that. So we're going to play that comment, and then I'm going to give you an update because Fiddy has spoken to Eric, and he had kind of extended him an offer to have a conversation with him to explain to him about how these gift cards are working. So I'll give you the update on that. And of course, I said we're going to talk about more stuff. We have a lot of other little topics in between there. Jaron's going to be with us for about an hour now.
I tell my wife I'll take her to dinner, and she's pregnant, so she needs food.
Yeah. He doesn't want to. Oh my gosh. He doesn't want to upset the wifey.
No.
Can't leave a pregnant woman hungry. So where do we want to start? Since you're going to leave earlier, why don't you tell us what you would like to start with?
Ooh, let's start with, let's go with Biden first.
Biden and Tucker? Or no,
yeah.
Biden and Biden's mental capabilities.
Yeah, let's go with that one. That's always a fun one.
All right. Okay. So do you mind if I give a little?
Yeah, go ahead.
A little synopsis here. So apparently Joe Biden suffered the worst day of his presidency after a bombshell report found that the U.S. president had significant limitations in his memory. Lawyers who interviewed Mr. Biden as part of the investigation into the handling of classified documents said he could not remember the years when he was vice president or when his son died of brain cancer. An ally of the president said it had been the worst day of his presidency, telling NBC News, "I think he needs to show us this is demonstrably false characterization of him and that he has what it takes to win and govern." Another Democratic operative said the report was beyond devastating and confirms every doubt and concern the voters have about President Biden. That basically he is not mentally fit to run the country. They basically said, well, if they're excusing him as far as this, this testifying that he's doing on these documents, and they're saying, well, he's just too old to remember, then how is he not too old to run the country? That is what the question is. And I do have some clips on that if you want to go ahead and give us your thoughts, and then I will play some of the clips.
No, you can play the clips first.
You want to play the clips first?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Let's put it out. Yeah.
All right, hold on one second. Mo wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
Okay, well, I'll say that 100% that his age is an issue, especially for those of us on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And had anybody but Trump been running against him, I think that'd be an opening, right, for somebody to come in and really exploit the fact that Biden is going to be 81 years old when he's running for re-election.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I had this conversation earlier thinking that it's an issue, 100% it is, but people will go out to the polls simply to vote against Trump rather than vote for Biden.
Not because Biden is not mentally fit to run the country.
We can say that he's not mentally. We would rather have a corpse in the White House than Trump. That's how much people want to vote against Trump rather than voting for Biden. So,
yeah, but the question is, though, do they want to vote against Trump because they're being told he's this terrible person and he's so bad for the country, or because they actually think he's bad for the country and we'd rather have a corpse? I think people are uninformed.
I think people 100% think that he is terrible for the country. And the only time I don't recall is an issue in a deposition is when it's Biden, because you remember back in when Trump was being deposed about Trump University, he said, I don't recall, 35 times in that deposition. So if you're going to use that to talk about Biden's mental fitness for office, the same thing can be said about Trump as well. Just get a montage of him saying, I don't recall 35 times, make that into a 30-second ad. And that's how you counter it, because they're 100%, because Rob, no. How am I wrong? Because how?
You're wrong. Have you read the special counsel report?
I skimmed it. I didn't read all of it now.
Okay, I read it.
Okay.
All right. He did not remember when he was vice president. I'm sorry, but that's a pivotal, historical moment in your life. I'm never going to forget that. I'm vice president. He didn't remember.
Or when your son
forgot. He didn't remember when his son died. Okay.
He said
thinks
that
his son died in a war. Your son died of brain cancer, not fighting in a war. And he sits on the stage all over this country and says this lie repeatedly. He did not remember, even within several years, when his son Bo died. His memory appeared hazy when describing the Afghanistan debate that was once so important to him. Amongst other things, he mistakenly said he had a real difference of opinion with General Earl Eckenberry, when in fact, Eckenberry was an ally of whom Biden cited approvingly in his Thanksgiving memo to President Obama. He's not remembering very important things that a president should know. Now, Trump saying, hey, I don't recall, I think that's a stretch.
Yeah.
Him saying, I don't recall is like him saying, I plead the fifth. I'm not answering your damn question.
That's what
again, he's saying he doesn't recall. Biden said that when he was asked about his son that died of brain cancer, Bo, he was saying that he was thinking, how dare you ask me this question, rather than this is something that I don't necessarily remember. And then also, according to the report, it said that he didn't remember when he was vice president, forgetting that the first day of the interview that his term ended in if it was 2013. So he asked, if it was 2013, when did I stop being vice president? And forgetting on the second day of the interview that his term began in 2009.
No, you're not gonna get me on this one, but let's listen to him in his own words and let's make a judgment.
The conduct of the response in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, has been over the top. I think that, as you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate.
No, you didn't.
Open the gate on the Israeli side.
No, you didn't. Because who the fuck is Sisi? Who is Sisi? Who is Sisi, Biden? You're talking about the president of Israel and you confuse him with Mexico. Mm-hmm. You don't even say his name right.
Well, to
listen,
be fair,
my grandfather has dementia, bro. My grandfather's going through Alzheimer's. I know it. He's not fit for office, period.
To be fair, Gaza is part of the Mexico Strip border, just so you know. The Gaza Strip is on the Mexico border.
But that's...
To be fair.
Bruh.
I'm just letting you know.
Jaron, you stretching. Come on now. You're stretching, okay? Wait, let me play this clip. This clip. Hold on.
Biden, something the special counsel said in his report is that one of the reasons you were not charged is because, in his description, you are a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet.
No, you didn't.
How bad is your memory? And can you continue
fucking retarded, man.
My memory is so bad, I let you speak.
Huh?
Your memory has gotten worse, Mr. President?
My memory is not good. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I become president.
Mr. President.
Voters have concerns about your age. How are you going to assuage them? And do you fear that this report is only going to fuel further concerns about your age?
Only by some of you.
Mr. President, criminal liability today. Do you take responsibility for at least being careless with classified material?
I take responsibility for not having seen exactly what my staff was doing.
Quivering.
That right there is a fantastic point. Because he's very true with that, because I said the same thing about Trump, right? Trump had no idea what people packed in those boxes, because when you are moving out of the White House, you do so on Inauguration Day, and it's a quick movement, right? So Trump had no idea what was in his boxes either. Like, they don't know what's in those boxes, period.
Yeah, but Trump didn't say that.
I just got one thing.
No, I agree that him nor Trump never knew what's in those boxes. So I agree with him on that 100%.
This is all we need to be doing. Congress, do your job. All right. 25th Amendment, this guy, listen, Kamala will be there for a few months. At least we'll have the Speaker of the House sitting as the VP or whoever they decide to put in there. But this dude is not, the mall is open, but ain't nobody shopping. Like, look, I don't talk about Biden because my grandfather is going through what this man is going through on a national stage, being the president of the United States. I don't think it's funny. This is elder abuse. And people are really considering voting for him. And you ought to have your rights stripped away. This is why I say repeal the 19th, because you got a lot of idiot women out there. Oh, I want to be able to go unalive my child. What?
But they're voting in their best interest. Again, run somebody that's not Trump. You know, Trump has only won in 2016. He has lost support in every election following, including midterms. Why do you want to put him up again and then say it's everybody else's fault for voting against him, for voting for somebody that's as dumb and sleepy as Joe Biden just because they don't want Trump? It's not their fault.
First of all, let me say this. Let's have this conversation without bringing Trump into it. Because like I will criticize Trump all day long, but this is about his cognitive ability. And you know that we cannot compare his cognitive ability to Trump's. Trump is sharp compared to this guy. Now,
I know a lot of people say Trump is pre-dementia as well.
Hold on. We have a nurse in the chat. Okay. Red Pill will tell you. Some of the characteristics, how this guy walks, the way he looks, some of his mannerisms are just classic, okay, dementia, Alzheimer's symptoms, the shuffling of the feet, okay? And it's not funny. And, you know, I will say this, as a wife, okay, if I were Jill Biden, I would just be disgusted with allowing my husband to be out in the public eye like this and then making a mockery of him falling off bikes, you know, him falling down the stairs of airplanes, him being confused. She should be protecting her husband and she is leaving him out there for the wolves. And one has to ask, why is that? What do they have on that family? Okay, that she has to leave her husband out there the way she is, because it's sad. It's extremely sad. And we're going to have this conversation. And like I said, and not compare the two, because there is no comparison. Okay. Trump never said, oh, I don't know what they packed in those boxes. No, he said, I know exactly what is over at Mar-a-Lago because that's what I was allowed to take. That's what he said.
He was not allowed to take it.
He was allowed to take it.
No, he was not.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
He was not allowed to take classified documents.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Just like any other president is allowed to declassify documents, he's allowed to declassify documents. Right. Obama did it. He did it. Joe Biden was not president, so that's why he couldn't do it.
But also, you got to declassify before you actually take it.
But
the stuff was still classified. There's a whole process to declassify. None of it was declassified. It was still classified when he brought it in.
If you look up the process of declassifying documents, remember when he said just the act of me saying I declassify these documents is enough. The process that is listed in the law that I read is very obscure. Okay, so that's why he was able to take them, because it's not a black and white, like I'm going to go to this person and I have to fill out this form and formally declassify. That is not how it is listed in the law to declassify documents. So, but it does say you have to be president of the United States. And that's where Biden messed up, is he wasn't president of the United States. What you got there, Soonie?
Is it just some polls? This is what matters. What matters is you know, the temperature of the country. Trump's support has increased drastically in all these court cases against him, being twice impeached. I think Democrats are, I'm not going to be condescending, but you're not smart when you think you're going to crucify, okay, a man on a national stage. It's a fucking witch hunt. And you have had failed attempt after failed attempt after failed attempt. We can go back to Russiagate. We can go back to him saying that he had this unprofessional call with what's his name? The guy over in Ukraine.
Zelensky? Vladimir Zelensky?
Zelensky?
No, not Zelensky. The guy before him. Poroshenko.
Okay. Yeah, right,
no, he
right.
didn't. In fact, Biden had very unethical calls with Poroshenko. We hear him on the call bribing him with loans. You get rid of this prosecutor and you have the loans.
Yeah.
We have this. This is out there for the public to view. Okay. His support is only going to increase because people, they're stupid, but they ain't that stupid. They're not. They can see what you're doing. It's a witch hunt. You guys have been trying to find something on this man since 2015 and nothing has stuck. Why do you think nothing is stuck? At some point, you got to give up this fight, man. Like it's like this weird high school popularity contest where you're not in our clique. So we're just going to make you feel like shit about yourself until you decide
Trump
to quit.
supporters do that too, though. Trump supporter, and we talked about this before because Trump supporters will do that to people like us that criticize Trump. You know, like where I'm a Trump supporter, but I can criticize him, and I get that same thing that you're getting, or that your side does to our side. It's ridiculous. I will say this, okay? This is what I think. So Kamala was their insurance policy for us not to impeach Biden. I don't think they really thought he was going to cognitively decline as fast as he did. And now they're in a situation where they know they need to 25th amend him and get him out of there. But they don't even want Kamala in that position. I don't even think their own side wants Kamala. They're like, shit, our plan that we were going to use her against the other side has now backfired on us because now we don't want the bitch either. Now what are we going to do? Now we got to leave him in there. That's what I think. That's what I think.
Nobody likes Kamala. I can tell you that much for sure. Nobody on the left likes her either. But we'll still choose Biden over the option being offered to us.
That's sad.
It's not sad. I still stand by this. I've said this many times on past episodes as well. A lot of people on the left do not want Biden to get reelected. Period. Full stop. However, what other possible option is being offered up to us? Something that we voted for against already twice? Then why do you think that we're going to vote for this guy all of a sudden the third time he's running? Right?
Who was we? Because half the country said yes to Trump. Like why? This is my question to you.
When did half the country say yes to Trump?
I don't believe 81 million people voted for Biden. Sorry, throw it out. It's not what happened. How do you rule out a significant portion of this country and say we don't want him anymore when there is a completely different faction that's saying actually yes we do?
How do you rule out a significant portion of the country by just saying that you don't believe they voted for for him?
Because we have proof that they use mail-in ballots. This is not unheard of. It's completely legal to do it. No. Using mail-in ballots to win an election, there's proof of this. They use COVID to scare the fuck out of people to not even go to the damn stations to vote and send something in, which is completely, in my opinion, it's not even, what's the word that I'm looking for?
You don't recall Trump saying, don't go and send mail-in ballots? You don't recall him talk? He spent the whole 2020 election talking about not to vote by mail.
Okay.
He told everybody not to vote by mail.
My point. Don't vote by mail because it's not secure.
Okay.
It's not secure. I can send in your ballot. Matter of fact, we did a live show. You can go back and watch this on my channel. I did a live show where at least 20 to 30 people came up and showed that their dead family member voted in the 2020 election. This is not conspiracy theory. These things happened. Like, what the fuck? It happened. If you really think this bumbling fool who is known as a racist really won the black population over, I'm sorry. I'm going to start questioning your cognitive ability because that makes no sense.
You can go ahead and question 100% because the same thing you say about Joe Biden is what people on the left say about Donald Trump, that he is a racist. Seeing what he did with the Central Park
There's
Five.
No evidence of it.
Right.
That's an opinion.
And
there's no evidence.
Right, and that's your opinion as well that Joe Biden is a what proof is Joe Biden a racist?
93
what
crime bill. He wrote legislation to lock black people up. He said he didn't want black people.
Black pastors were asking for the 93 the crime bill.
And they suck too because they're sellouts.
So but are they racist then? They were
against their own kind. I would say they're traitorous. Absolutely.
At that time, do you know what was going on when that crime bill was written? Okay, what was going on then?
I sure do. And I don't think locking people up for indiscriminate years is going to change the drug dealing habit or a drug problem. That's not how you reform people.
Exactly. That's not how you reform people, but that's not racist though. That's policy being made to solve a problem.
What about when he gave the eulogy at KKK Robert Byrd's funeral and said he was a mentor and
nobody cares about that.
Mm-hmm.
No,
nobody cares about that.
100%. Just like the left has, the right has Strom Thurmond, right? A devout racist.
Dead, bro.
but you can platform Strom Thurmond into the party and hold him up in high regard. But then all of a sudden, who does what?
Who uplifts Strom Thurmond?
Those who
the only time we talk about
times.
Strom Thurmond is when we talk about the switch that never happened. There was a switch amongst voters, but there was no switch in political factions. Both sides borrow ideologies from each other. That's the big switch. But that's the only time we talk about Strom Thurmond. If we're going to talk about anybody, we talk about Everett Durskin, who actually saved the Civil Rights Bill. I don't hear people talk about Strom Thurmond unless we're talking about the switch.
I talk about Strom Thurmond because he got voted in multiple times. A devout racist getting reelected into the Senate under the Republican banner. So again, it goes both ways. You can't just point to something that Joe Biden did and say it's convenient because it's in your particular point of view. Whereas the same thing can be said from the left about people on the right.
I don't know. All I got to say is to say, I know the guy is not a good president, but we're going to vote for him anyways, because we just don't like the other guy when there is no, I mean, listen, again, I will say, we will sit, Soonie and I will sit here all day and talk about Trump's faults. There are faults that he has, but the country was run better underneath him. He is clearly more cognitive. His abilities are more sharper than Joe Biden's. And to allow our country to go further down into a black hole just because you don't like somebody? Is it about liking somebody or is it about the betterment of this country as a whole?
It depends on your personal view of what the betterment is. Because
okay, so give me what your betterment is if you're going to vote for a guy that is clearly a hot freaking mess. Tell me what matters to you.
I'd rather have somebody who's not on Twitter all the time talking every single morning. I don't want to have to worry about who's president. I don't care about what he has to say or what he wants to tweet out or who he's mad at today. I care about a woman's right to choose 100%. I think that is something that's important. That's going to drive voters in November. I also don't think that every single person that comes across the southern border is here to harm us. I think we should offer some type of aid within reason, right? So like, again, the discourse under Trump for a lot of people was negative. So they see voting against him as a positive because they don't want to go back to what they saw as a negative under Trump. Just like you think it's negative under Biden right now. So you want to go back to what you saw under Trump. You thought Trump was great.
I don't think he's perfect. I can admit that.
I'm not saying you thought he was perfect, but you said life was good under Trump.
Yeah,
people also believe that life was bad under Trump, which is why they want to vote against him.
But believing it and it actually being a fact are two different things. Because like you said, you care for a woman's right to choose. Well, so does Trump. He says he's pro-life personally, but he thinks that every state should have the right to make their own laws.
He wants to.
He's not going to outlaw abortion across the board. He's not.
He already said he wasn't. He literally said it on live TV that he's not going to do it at a federal level. Right. And he actually told the Republican Party to stop talking about it because you're not helping. So voting for Trump is not women losing their rights. It's up to the states, which is where it belongs. If the state says no, then take your ass somewhere else.
100%. I agree with that.
So that's not a good point then.
What do you mean it's not a good point?
Well, because I'm saying like Trump sees eye to eye with you on that point.
But he also boasts his role in creating this, what we have right now, it being a state by state patchwork of decisions. He is 100%. He's 100% proud of rolling back Roe v. Wade.
Yes, it should be like that.
It's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
And it's a good thing because you agree with it. Other people see that as not being a good thing.
Because it's a good thing because it is how the country is supposed to work. They're falling in line with the Constitution. Finally, the federal branch of government should not have this much power. That is never how this country was intended to run. The forefathers, the framers, whatever you want to call them, they
power
had
in what sense, though?
What do you mean? They get to determine what the states can and cannot do.
That's the role of the federal courts.
The role of the federal court is to interpret the Constitution. That is the role. To interpret. We're talking about the Supreme Court. That is their only job. It is not to say what states can and cannot do. It is to investigate what states are doing and make sure it is falling in line within the Constitution. If it doesn't, then the Supreme Court can step in and say, you're not in line with the Constitution. Here's why. We have our dissenting opinions. But giving the people the opportunity to vote for whether they want abortion there or not is not unconstitutional.
I'm so confused as to why you don't think that the courts have any say in what states should and shouldn't do.
Because the Constitution does not allow them that power.
Mm-hmm. That would be federal overreach.
They can interpret. That's what they're there for. The Supreme Court is there to interpret the Constitution.
Right.
And make sure that we are following. It's the highest court in the land.
But when you interpret based upon the Constitution, that is going to fall in what states can and cannot do.
Which falls in line with the Constitution, which is we're okay with that.
It's not adding up, because that's why people run to the Fifth Circuit of Appeals, right? Or run things up through Texas, through the Fifth Circuit, to ban things like the Affordable Care Act, or even the ability to access abortion pills through the mail, right? So again, that's the federal court coming in those decisions, outlawing things that have been on,
but their
FDA
job
clearance.
is to make those rulings based on their job to interpret what the Constitution already says. It is not their job to rewrite what the Constitution says, which is what they would be doing if they made the decision that you want to make. That's what we're trying to say. It's their job to interpret the Constitution, not to rewrite it.
I agree, but it was also, they found constitutional backing in the Roe v. Wade decision, right?
What do you mean they found constitutional backing? They found a loophole.
What loophole was it? Was it the 14th Amendment?
It was something. Something to that effect. I can't remember.
They justified it based upon the Constitution, so they interpret the Constitution in such a way to come to that verdict.
It still falls in line with how the Constitution works. The Supreme Court did not ban abortion. They said, we're going to remove it from a federal level and we're going to give it to the states. Much like they should, because that falls in line with the Constitution. If the states want it, you can have it. If you don't, you don't. There is a state constitution and a federal constitution for a reason. Every state has their own constitution. We are not supposed to be governed by the Fed. Like, there's checks and balances for a reason. I'm a small government type of woman. All right.
Right.
I'm already too close to the Fed than I want to be, because I am a military spouse and everything that happens at a federal level happens to me first. So no, living under this for almost what has been 12, 13 years, I would much rather have a state advocating for me in which I have more control over, because I get to vote for who is operating at a state level, at a city council level, and I get to have my voices heard. My voice is not heard at a federal level. I don't get to decide, hey, I don't want to wear a mask and this is my right, because you know what the Fed says? You're going to put this damn mask on, or you're not coming on base. Your kids are not going to school. You can't shop at my stores. You can't do anything. So you're either going to comply or you're going to get down and stay down. It's that simple. I don't know anybody who would want those two choices. I don't know any American who would want those to be their only two choices. As a matter of fact, it's not a choice. It's me telling you what you're going to do, or I'm going to make your life hell.
again, I just keep coming back to the supremacy clause, right? It's what, Article 6 saying that federal law supersedes state law, correct?
Let's pull it up.
So if I'm just trying to figure it out, how things that are on a federal level can't affect the states.
Supremacy clause of the Constitution, Article establishes that the Constitution and federal laws made pursuant to it, treaties made under its authority, constitute the supreme law of the land, thus takes priority over conflicting state laws. Either way, they're still bound to the Constitution. So you're just making my point. You're reinforcing what I've already said. So if it falls in line with the Constitution and the state is falling in line with the Constitution, then no, the Fed cannot come in and say, you can't do this, because they're not breaking any constitutional laws. Like,
and it was the Supreme Court decided that the right to privacy implied in the 14th Amendment protected abortion as a fundamental right. That's so you asked, what was it under 14th Amendment?
14th Amendment. So they interpreted it in such a way to come to what they saw as a constitutional basis for their opinion.
Sure, we have Supreme Court justices that do that, but that's also constitutional because they're supposed to be impartial. They're not supposed to go in there with their own opinions. They're supposed to read the Constitution, interpret the Constitution, and rule justly. I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican. You don't go in there and insert your own will. You just don't do that.
But they both do it. Both sides do it. You will find constitutional reasoning to get to whatever verdict you want to get to and support it through the Constitution, because it's a dead document that can be interpreted many different ways.
I don't think so. I think that's just man being arrogant and conniving and
putting their own opinion on it. Yeah.
Hey, the only Supreme Court justice you'll hear me really give credit to, because he is impartial and he does vote against things that I feel like he should be voting for, is Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas kicked the election case out. You don't have nothing. You don't have anything here that says these states violated the Constitution. So until you come back with something, we're not interested in hearing it. That's a Supreme Court that works. So that same Supreme Court that decided we're not really interested in your election fraud claims, there's the same Constitution that said, hey, this is a state issue. So to me, they're being consistent. There's nothing. What do we have to complain about? You got your way. We got our way. Everybody's happy. The election wasn't overturned. Look, the Supreme Court works. It just doesn't work when your feelings are involved.
100%. It does work. It does. I agree with you. Like, I don't know where you want to go with this, but like when we were talking about the Colorado electors case. I know you're talking about the election fraud case.
Well, that's stupid too, because
the Colorado case,
you're going to take someone off the ballot because you don't like them. Like,
no, you can't.
Okay.
Yeah, you cannot do that, because it is not, in that case, it's not up to the states to decide how they want to disperse their electors or remove somebody from the ballot in a federal election.
You're talking about the Colorado trying to remove Trump from the ballot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I had said that on a few shows back. I said, I don't agree with that. No. I wouldn't agree with it with Biden. I wouldn't agree with it with the candidate I don't like.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it looks like and again, going back to Sootie's point, the Supreme Court is doing its job.
And I hope it's 9-0. It might be 8-1, but I hope it's 9-0 though, because
hopefully
that this can be a moment of like putting political ideology to the side and just interpreting the law as it should be. Mm-hmm. Because it talks about engaging in an insurrection. First off, you got to be convicted of that, right? And there has to be some there. There was nothing there, and he wasn't charged with insurrection.
Correct.
So you can't just make up whatever law because you don't like, or you can't just base upon, you know, whatever political decision you want to come to based upon, you know, in the Constitution because you don't like the person.
Right. Yeah.
So hopefully it's 9-0.
It's interesting that this particular issue also centers on Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment is quite popular with these. Quite popular with President Trump, you know?
Hey, look, I'm not a fan of Trump. I don't like Trump. I don't like the fact that he's so cozy with the queers. I don't like the fact that he's so cozy with the idea of women being able to unalive their children. I don't like a lot of things about the guy. But what we can't deny is reality. He is gaining momentum. He is gaining popularity because this president that we have in office sucks so freaking bad. So much so that you got loudmouth Stephen A. Smith talking about him getting reelected in November because the guy's going to win. I hope people listen to this. Tell me what you think.
You can pick and choose. What it came down to for me is this. I see homeless folks in the streets of New York all the time that are American citizens. I damn sure see them in California. We've got poor, impoverished, starving people who were born and raised in this nation. How in the hell do we come up with a $53 million pilot program for illegals, but folks who are here legally are born here, we don't have enough of them? Just like we could come up with billions for Ukraine, but somehow, some way, we can't fix the homeless problem. I'm down for helping Israel. I'm down for helping address the situations with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, okay? I'm down for helping the Ukrainians and fighting off Russia. What about poor and desolate citizens here? How the hell do you print money for foreign countries, but you don't print that money to help eradicate folks that are starving right here in the streets of America who were born and raised here? Mm-hmm. This is what I'm talking about. And so when you have something like that, what's the one way to eradicate it? Yes, you got to have a flourishing economy. Yes, you can't have inflation. Yes, you can't be on the verge of a recession. Milk don't need to cost $7. Bread don't need to cost $5. Don't get me started with how much sugar costs.
Hey man, loudmouth Steven is about to have all black folks looking at Biden a little different. You already got Charlemagne. When is Trump coming back?
Man.
We had the Breakfast Club very early on.
You know what it sounds like to
Trump.
Me? You know what it sounds like to me? We got a cure for Trump derangement syndrome on.
Yeah, just give him a shitty economy and say, you want Trump back? Yes or no?
Yeah. Well, there's another person that has something to say who was, you know, notoriously a Trump hater, and that is Michael Rappaport. Let's hear what he's
Here's why I think you're going to vote for him this time. Because you've seen what happened under his first term.
Oh, I can't stand this dude, man.
And he's got the mean tweets and he's orange, but life was good. There was no wars. The economy was going good. But damn, he's annoying to look at. But you also can acknowledge that the media had a major role in a major role in that.
When you take a step back.
Yes. You also acknowledge that.
Because I will also acknowledge that, you know, that one thing about the Charlottesville that I ranted about.
Yes.
And I was wrong.
But the both sides thing.
Yeah, and I respect so irresponsible.
And I respect the shit out of it. Wait, let me hear him out. Hang on. Yeah. Go a little bit more. What do you mean by that? You were wrong on that.
No, because he said the both sides, you know, there's good people on both sides. And when you see the full quote, that wasn't what he said. And you know, I ranted on him hard for that. Mm-hmm. Hard. There's some video about it, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I ranted hard because I was like, what are you talking about, man?
Because you got played. And here's what this is why I think you're going to vote for Trump.
Shut up.
Much like me, much like many people, independent thinkers, not the sheep, realize we kind of got played a little bit. Yes, Trump ain't exactly the smoothest character. He's not
Jesus Christ.
No, but he actually, his policies and who he has around him are way better than what's going on there. And here's my final point. You see what's going on with the border. You see what's going on with the wokeness. You see what's going on with culture wars. And you see what's going on with actual wars.
Yeah.
Specifically, you see who the Democrats have exposed their hand. especially the progressive left. You see what's going on between Israel and Gaza. You have 3 starved eyes on your chest right now. And as someone who is a proud New Yorker your whole life, you see what the Democratic Party has turned into. This DEI, ESG, woke manifestation of ridiculousness, intersectionality, decolonialization. You're looking at that and you say, you know what? As much as I can't stand big dick Donald Trump, you said it. At least he's fucking normal. At least he doesn't want to turn my boy into a girl. He's normal.
Well, yes.
At least he doesn't want to turn my boy into a girl.
Yeah.
At least he's defending Israel, not the fucking terrorists. And at the end of the day, I'm a reasonable person.
Yeah.
So like you said initially.
First of all, the latter part of his speech was total lies.
Yeah.
Just here to tell you guys, I'm going to be objective. Trump did not support Israel. In fact, Trump was very critical of Israel's practices. And he said if he was in office, what is his name? Habibi, whatever people are calling him. He wouldn't have done half the stuff he's doing now because Trump wouldn't have tolerated it. Sisi, the president of Mexico.
Yeah.
Let's quote Joe Biden on that. You're lying. I can't stand that guy. Like, I don't like him. I cannot stand him. But he lied.
Can we go back to the 2017 fine people on both sides comment?
There's good people on both sides.
Yeah, because I was wrapped up into that. Like when I first heard it as well, like I bought into like, you know, oh man, he's defending white supremacists, whatever. But like you look into the context of what was going on. People were protesting the removal of a statue. The Robert E. Lee, right? The Robert E. Lee statue, right? Was that what it was?
Yeah.
So there were people that genuinely wanted that to stay as part of history, and others wanted to come down. So by him saying there were fine people on both sides, that's accurate. But people took that and wanted to use that as a microcosm for him supporting white supremacy.
Right.
So yeah. No, very much so.
Can we say the same thing with the Central Park 5?
I'm not. I can't go that far. I can't go that far.
No consistency there.
Baby steps, Libby. Baby steps.
because he used them to talk about bringing back the death penalty, and he just apologized after they were exonerated, saying he was wrong. Cool, no harm, no foul, right? Because you were talking about what was happening at that time, in crime being rampant in New York City, and the information you had to go on was these people committed that crime. Cool, bring back the death penalty. But then afterwards, when they were exonerated, to still double down on it, that's my problem.
All right.
Yeah.
that's my so I can't give him there. But no, 100%. Like Rappaport's right about how that was. I think people were feeding upon this anti-Trump sentiment and this fervor that people wanted to just nail him on something for, and looking for anything to nail him on. And took that comment out of context. Reminded me of what happened to Shirley Sherrod under Obama. I don't know if you remember her. It was the lady that told the story of a white farmer who, she was like the head of ag, I think. A white farmer came to her asking for a loan. And the clip was a white farmer. I didn't do everything I could do for him. Something to that effect. And it was that little snippet that went out from Project Veritas, got her fired. But the whole clip was that she was talking about how she was having this moment within her saying that, you know, this is a white farmer coming up to me asking for help. Now I'm a black woman in power to help him out. Should I do it? Part of me didn't want to based upon what I went through, but yes, I did because I knew that I was being wrong in that situation.
I don't remember that.
That was, I think, 2009, but people we'll take that little small clip and just run with it and create whatever narrative they want to. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the whole, I don't want to say that everything that Trump says is taken out of context, but that is how Trump derangement syndrome was created, was off of that. And it's funny because I want to recommend to everybody that you follow the account House and Habit on Instagram, because she is amazing. And what's funny is she was like, I would say independent liberal type person. And now she's covering Trump quite a bit because she realized her viewers wanted to be like informed on all this Trump stuff and the election stuff. She realized there was a market basically for covering the election. So as she started covering it, she said, I had to start watching a lot of Trump speeches and go back and research, statements that Trump had made so that she could be posting accurate content. And she's like, I realized that everything we were shown about Trump, as far as things that he said that were just these inflammatory statements that were put out in the media, were wrong. because they were just these little clips, and that's not what he said at all. And, you know, it's a shame. It's a shame because people want this short form content. I saw it yesterday with the Putin Tucker Carlson interview. There were so many people that were like, this interview is boring. And I couldn't even sit through the beginning when he was giving the history lesson. And I was like, you know why? Because people don't have the patience to understand what he was doing there. He was giving a very pertinent history lesson.
I was one of those people then.
You were one of those people?
I was one of those people. I could have the first hour of it. I was like, this is so boring.
You really thought it was boring?
I didn't. I was thoroughly amused.
Yeah, I thought it was, yeah. But also, again, it's we're conditioned to say Putin bad, Ukraine good with no questions, right? The fact that, you know, there's money that's going to Ukraine that's unaccounted for, that they have misused, right? We're just writing blank checks to them. So yeah, you can question. We should question what they're doing with it. And it's not necessarily 100% Putin wrong, Ukraine is good. There's some nuance to the situation.
Soonie, give us your thoughts, because you said you thought it was fascinating. I agree with you. I was captivated the entire time.
It's fascinating because it puts eggs on the left and the right's face. Because I remember when, this is like 2 years ago now, when the Ukrainian conflict happened. Has it been 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
I got absolutely wrecked for saying I stand with Putin. I remember posting this on my Facebook, and I posted the Russian flag because all of our Congress members were wearing the Ukrainian flag. I talked about how the expansion of NATO is why Putin is acting the way he is. I talked about how America acts as a fucking bully and they don't want people to act aggressive back towards them. Everything that he talked about was things that I mentioned. I love the fact that he mentioned the denazification that he is personally going through or personally noticing. I love the fact that he called out Zelensky. I'm not saying the guy's perfect, but I'm saying that really independent minds who just so happen to lean right and conservative have been calling this out for a number of years. So for me personally, that's why it was so interesting. And I'm still watching because I like to get every bit and piece of it, because I'm going to do a bunch of reactions of me just being like, well, you know, I'm going to put the Rocky music in the back. I guess I was right again. People think that having a nuanced discussion means that you have to agree with a so-called terrorist because, sorry if the channel gets a strike for this, but it's the truth. Muammar Gaddafi was labeled a tyrant, and he wrote an amazing, beautiful piece to the UN complaining about how they have no voting power with NATO. And, you know, they're supposed to stand up and help out these countries in conflict, and they do nothing. Bin Laden.
What do you think about
Sorry,
Saddam Hussein?
guys.
Saddam Hussein.
Bin Laden did. Saddam Hussein. All these guys did the same thing. They had the same complaints that Putin has. And you look at what they're labeling him as. Just go back in history. You don't have to agree with the acts, the egregious acts, the hatred of America. I don't agree with that. I condemn that 1000%. But I'm not going to sit and pretend like they didn't have a real gripe with NATO and that NATO isn't absolutely trash. The UN is one of the most useless governing bodies on this earth. There's no reason for them to be there. And last point, I'm glad that he brought up BRICS, because you know what you're going to see? You're going to see a ton of people that don't know what the hell BRICS or the UN or NATO is start to infuse geopolitics in their conversation. Just remember where you heard this.
So do you think that the fact that NATO is encroaching on his borders, do you think that's the reason why he's trying to reassemble the old USSR then?
I do. I think, like he said in the interview, you know, America does all these things, but when we retaliate, it's like the biggest deal in the world. So you want to talk about freeing somebody because Tucker Carlson asked him, are you going to free that journalist out there? Yeah. And he was like, sure, if you're willing to give a little. I think that's an amazing power play. If you're willing to give a little, if you're willing to listen to us, sure, we'll let your people go. But until then, ain't no negotiations going down. To me, that's a move Trump would do. We're not negotiating until you move a little.
I want to play that clip real quick that you just talked about. Let's play it real quick so people who didn't see this can see what he's talking about.
One last question, and that's about Evan Gershkovich, who's the Wall Street Journal reporter. He's 32, and he's been in prison for almost a year. And I just want to ask you directly, if as a sign of your decency, you would be willing to release him to us and we'll bring him back to the United States.
We have done so many gestures of goodwill out of decency that I think we have run out of them. We have never seen anyone reciprocate to us in a similar manner. However, in theory, we can say that we do not rule out that we can do that if our partners take reciprocal steps.
What makes this different is the guy's obviously not a spy, he's a kid. And maybe he was breaking your law in some way, but he's not a super spy. And everybody knows that. And he's being held hostage in exchange, which is true. With respect, it's true. And everyone knows it's true. So maybe he's in a different category. Maybe it's not fair to ask for somebody else in exchange for letting him out. Maybe it degrades Russia to do that.
He was receiving classified, confidential information, and he did it covertly.
I mean, this is a 32-year-old newspaper reporter.
He committed something different. He's not just a journalist. I reiterate, he's a journalist who was secretly getting confidential information. I do not rule out that the person you refer to, Mr. Gershkovich, may return to his motherland. By the end of the day, it does not make any sense to keep him in prison in Russia.
So I thought that was interesting.
Awesome.
And because I was just kind of like, is this guy just a journalist? Is he just a kid? Was he over there doing something else? Maybe
was Paul Whelan just a dude?
I don't know. Maybe he's safer over there in Russia. Maybe Mr. Paul don't want to come back to the United States because he knows he's probably safer there in Russia. Because the way that Putin said to him, he said to Tucker, this man who you refer to as whatever, kind of like, that's not who we know him as. And I'm not saying we need to trust Putin all the way, okay? Because he's Putin after all. But, I thought that was an interesting question. And people were like, oh, Tucker Carlson, he's just this amazing American. He's brokering the release of a hostage. And I saw a little bit past that. I was like,
When I saw that, the only thing I could think of was Edward Snowden, how he's in Russia for for disseminating, U.S. classified information. And how Putin's like, nah, you can't, no. Like he's giving shelter to Snowden, but with this dude right here, he's like, nah, he can't have my secrets.
W.
Well,
9/11 was an inside job.
Right. The CIA. So speaking of the CIA, and I'm glad Soonie clipped this and posted it with the comment savage, because I thought this comment was savagery. Okay. When I saw this comment, I was like, ooh, he said, I'm about to let you know. This is a power play. I'm about to let you know. I'm going to tell you, I got to play this comment. And this is when Tucker asked Putin about who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. Here we go.
With the backing of CIA, of course. The organization you wanted to join back in the day, as I understand. We should thank God they didn't let you in.
His face. Like, he's like, like when your mom asks you a question and you're like, I know she knows the answer to this, and if I lie to her right now,
Poor little Tuckums.
That was his face.
So it is a serious organization. I understand. With the backing of CIA.
Yeah, when he said, I understand, dude, the whole body language there, I was just like, damn, Gina.
Damn.
So who blew up Nord Stream? U.S.
Oh,
was it us, Ukraine, or both?
I thought from the very beginning it was us.
It was either us or Ukraine or both in tandem.
Well, and Putin made a good point. He's like, you got to look at who has the capability to do so,
and whose interest would it be to blow it up?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, what's made it clear to me is clearly, I don't know, whether either this guy is an extremely great actor, it could be a little bit of both. But Putin.
Okay.
I found him extremely sincere in this interview. Okay. Real. I didn't get the impression that he was putting on for anybody in this interview. I think that he made it it was sad to me because I thought to myself, how is it that a leader of another country seems to care more about the United States than our own leader?
Sorry, I had to burp. It's propaganda. That's what he wants you to believe. He wants you to believe that, same thing that people in Russia can say about us. We care more about Russians, living under Putin than he does about his own people, about, getting the sanctions lifted so they can live freely, right? So it's just it's a propaganda play on his part to give that allure that he does care. He genuinely cares about America and our interests.
Well, I think I don't think so, because I think if we're stable, they're good. That's what I think. So I think he does have a just like the rest of the world, right? He does have a vested interest in us being a stable country, because when we're a mess, the whole damn world falls apart. Case in point, that's what's happening. But, to me, he made it very clear that I'm more than willing to have discussions with your president, which, by the way, he said I have not spoken to in I don't know how long. Okay. Good news on that. Joe Biden probably doesn't remember the facts on that either. Okay. Yeah. But he made it clear that I'm more than willing to have discussions about making things right over here with whatever's going on. But it doesn't seem like your country wants to have discussions. It doesn't seem like your country has a vested interest in ending this war. It seems like your country wants to keep on going. And it seems like that to me before I even saw this interview.
To be fair, Joe Biden did talk to the Russian president. He said he had a conversation with Mikhail Gorbachev yesterday. That's his best friend. Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was a good interview overall.
And I agree, because like once we move past this whole idea of like black and white, right? Like, if I don't like you, then everything you say is wrong, or if I like you, everything you say is truth. There was factual stuff inside that interview between both Tucker and Putin that came out, Mm-hmm. So yeah, like Soonie said, it's very nuanced.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to play a couple more clips. I think I have one or two more clips here from the interview. So this was a clip where Putin reveals which world leader crushed the Ukraine peace treaty.
I think at this point, as of February 2024, he has the latitude, the freedom to speak with you or your government directly about putting an end to this, which clearly isn't helping his country or the world. Can he do that, do you think?
Why not? He considers himself head of state. He won the elections. Although we believe in Russia that the coup d'etat is the primary source of power for everything that happened after 2014. And in this sense, even today, government is flawed. But he considers himself the president, and he is recognized by the United States, all of Europe, and practically the rest of the world in such a capacity. Why not? He can. We negotiated with Ukraine in Istanbul. We agreed. He was aware of this. He even put his preliminary signature on the document I am telling you about. But then he publicly stated to the whole world, we were ready to sign this document, but Mr. Johnson, then the Prime Minister of Great Britain, came and dissuaded us from doing this, saying it was better to fight Russia. And we agreed with this proposal. And the fact that they obeyed the demand or persuasion of Mr. Johnson, the former Prime Minister of Great Britain, seems ridiculous and very sad to me.
What do you think about that? Do we have any thoughts on that? Do we care?
Do we care? I mean, it's what's more disturbing is you have a foreign president understanding and knowing more about our country than our sitting president wants to say, or that he wants to lead on, I should say. I think most of our politicians are well aware of what's going on. They're well aware. But for it to take an American journalist, a foreign freaking president from Russia, to come together to give more nuanced, contextualized information to the American citizens is actually sad. We're in a really sad, disturbing spot in this country, but we're also in a good spot And I'm happy because that means independent journalists get to finally have some shine outside of legacy media, bro. Legacy media sucks. They're only there as a parrot for Republicans and Democrats. There is no independent voice in this country. That's why they call you the silent majority. It is time to stop being silent.
Yeah.
For crying out loud. Please get loud. Please.
You know what's funny? When I was like, let me just look and see if there's an article that kind of like summarizes this whole interview. And my gosh, man, when you Google Putin and Tucker interview, like the headlines are like, oh, it's even worse than expected. Putin and Tucker interview. Like, it's like the headlines are so misleading because they don't want you to watch it. And it's so important to watch it. I have to actually go back and watch the beginning where he gives that like history lesson.
History.
That like goes back to what, like the 1900s? Like he literally went back.
Like BC.
Yeah.
Someone back when. Yeah.
I was like, man, this guy should teach a history class or something. It was fascinating.
The only thing I didn't like about the history lesson per se was the fact that I don't know if he is using it to justify his current actions that he's taking against Ukraine, because I mean, to me, that if anybody has historical claim to lands, if we can get into a conversation that will get a strike, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm freezing.
Yeah,
you cut out.
I'm trying to hear what you're saying because I guarantee you we're probably going to disagree.
They already cutting you out. They already.
I have no problem with what Putin is doing.
You have no problem with what Putin is doing?
No.
Well, it's
I'm not hating on Putin. And I tell you what, I was watching this interview and I was like, man, I sure wish Tucker could get Hitler in the chair. Because I'm trying to find out what really happened. Because I'm still stuck on the fact, okay? I just asked Dave this yesterday. I said, has anybody ever asked the question why a man who didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes was supposedly trying to kill off people who didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes because they weren't the superior race? Has anybody really questioned that? Because I'm starting
to think, no.
I mean, I'm not saying Putin is innocent. I'm not saying that he doesn't have his tyrannical moments, okay? And I'm not saying that about Hitler. All I'm saying is, if there's one thing that this interview taught me, it's that we're not getting the story the correct way. And I think that's what the significance of him going as far back in the history, not to justify what he's doing, but to kind of show us you ain't getting the story that you should be getting.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Is he back? I don't want to cut him off.
I don't know. Jaron, are you back? And I'm sorry for all this noise. I keep my uh-oh.
I kind of talked about this a long time ago on my Instagram, where I would do revisionist history lives.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
And I would tell people, like, do you ever question why there's only one line of thinking in American history?
Mm-hmm.
And anytime you go outside of that one mainstream thought in American history, you're automatically deemed some sort of like extremist or something nutty. I remember, I'm not going to say it on here, but everybody knows what I said on Instagram Live. It was like 3-4 in the morning. And I just blurted it out. And Tyler Bluntman, this is the first time I had him shook, scared in his boots. He was like, yeah, he came down so quick, because most people don't know where to go when you mention that name Hitler and you have something positive to say behind it.
Right.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. So I think Americans should re-examine a lot of history that they were taught in school, because we go through what's called a compulsory education.
Right.
You're compelled to think, believe, and receive a lot of the things that you get, but they're all government books that came from someone who was approved by the government. Do you really want to believe that?
the problem is that people are afraid of those words anti-Semitic and racist, right? Like you can't question how the slave trade happened or anything like that because you're going to be racist, and you can't question how the Holocaust went down because you'll be anti-Semitic. That is what the problem is. And just because you question it and you say, well, hold on just a minute, just some little thing like, why is the dude that's trying to get rid of everybody that doesn't have brown, blonde hair and blue eyes have brown hair and brown eyes? Like just a little question like that I'm not saying that I agree with him putting all these people on a train and shipping them off into a shower to gas them and kill them. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying something ain't adding up to me. Okay. Something ain't adding up. And I've heard people, who are Jewish have the same question.
Yep.
Not everybody who's Jewish thinks that it all went down the way that they say it went down. I'm just saying we weren't there. I'm a person who likes to know the details in the story, and I just want to know the story. Okay, that's why
Fill
I
in
said
the blanks for it real quick.
Elon Musk, can you work on raising Hitler up from the dead so we can talk to him?
Oh my gosh, no, you did not.
Can you put a check?
No, you did not.
Can you extract something from him so we can get the story? I just need to know. I just need to know.
No.
Yes. I'm telling you, because something, like we should be okay. It should be acceptable for us to question the history that we've been taught.
This is why I didn't support Ron DeSantis, because he had no problem taking that ability away from you. Children are their minds are inquisitive by nature. Now, I want my kids to question, like, you don't believe in the slave trade? You don't believe all these ships brought over black people? Hell no. And you know what? Well, why, Mom? Well, hey, we got this history in our family. You read this book, read that book, and then you come to your own conclusion. That's what I did. I did it much later in life, but I read every book imaginable. I went back and said, dude, where are the slave ships? You don't listen. You know what they did? Sometimes I feel like when I ask questions and it goes out into the ether, the universe answers me back in very just subtle ways. So I kept questioning why we ain't got no slave ships, y'all. What's happening? This is a couple years, right? And you know what these fools did? These motherfuckers, these Bamas brought out no dirty, nasty piece of soggy wood from the bottom of some lake in Alabama and said, here's a piece of the slave ship. Are you kidding me?
Wait, for real? We have no evidence of slave ships?
No.
Are you serious?
Other than logs that they say.
Like random log. Well, we have like no
bill of sales. There is no physical ship that they've ever found. And even more so, how in the hell did you travel across all those oceans on a wooden ship and all them people packed in there and one of them fought you back and you were on their terrain? Are you kidding me? You don't think them people is out there making swords and axes and what you call them? Spears? Bow and arrows. Okay.
So it says, history demands we preserve the wreck of America's last slave ship, the wreck of the Clotilda.
Clotilda, yes, that's what it is.
The last ship to bring enslaved Africans to the United States remains buried in the mud on the bottom of the Mobile River in Alabama, exactly where I discovered the long lost ship 3 years ago. Where is the picture?
Dude, it is literally a piece of wood. I'm not even playing with you.
Wait a minute. It's not. Hold on. It's not this Black right here. Oh yes, I forgot to wish you guys happy. Is it this? This is it? Is this it?
That's it, though.
Stop.
Not even playing with you. I watched the documentary. I watched every documentary on this Clotilda piece. I'm not playing with you.
Oh,
not
Lord.
Playing. Oh, Jaron's back. Welcome back.
Thank you. I forgot to plug in the computer.
I thought maybe your wife came and like snatched you out of the room and was like, we're going to go eat.
I know. I smell something baking in the oven downstairs. So I think she decided to make a pizza.
Oh no. Do you have to go? You can go.
I'll be fine. I probably have like another 15-20 minutes.
We don't want Mrs. Jaron to be mad at us.
She already is upset that I got her. I locked her down. I was the only man.
You better
to do
sleep
so.
with one eye open. I know what it's
will.
like to be pregnant and hungry. She's gonna be on your neck tonight.
Can we before we move on? Can we just I forgot to ask. What's the name of Tucker's show?
I think it's just called the Tucker Carlson Show.
I thought it was Tucker on X. Because if
Tucker. Well, no, because he's got the Tucker Carlson website where you can watch his stuff, but X just streams it to there.
Because I thought I heard him say his show is Tucker on X. I'm like, that sounds just like a party. It's like yeah, come on, Tuck.
Actually, when you think about it, that's pretty genius.
Tucker on X, hell yeah.
I'll tune in to watch that.
Right, me too. I'm there. sounds like a good ass time.
Yeah. By the way, I found the full picture of the ship of the Catilda. It's right here. It's just this long piece of wood is all they have left of the ship.
We know that's the ship, Hal. I want to know. You found that and said, "Here go the slave ship." From where?
Soonie, they know it's the ship because Joe Biden actually had a friend on it. A really good friend.
Clotilda. He knew Clotilda. Okay, did you know? Him and Clotilda.
He knew Corn Pop too. Corn Pop, Clotilda. He knew all of them.
Is it Clotilda? I'm sorry, Clotilda.
You say Clotilda. Lord, you gonna have these pro-black people being like, you can't even say it.
Yo, but that's really, I'm gonna go down. You know me, like when you get me on something, even if it was never an interest to me before, now I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole on this topic.
Yeah, do it, please. I really encourage more people to do research on. I'm not saying the slave trade didn't happen, but millions upon millions upon millions of big, strong, burly ass black men over in Africa. Shut up. Against men who had to pack their guns with powder back then? Are you kidding me? Listen, I don't believe in revisionist history. All right? I question it.
I believe it. I believe it happened. The door of no return. That's what
Biden knows it's the slave ship because that's where he bought his slaves.
Listen. Have you guys ever read To Kill a Mockingbird?
Yes, a long time ago in high school.
Before it was banned,
people need to go back and read it. What's another book? It was another book I read. No, it's actually my own research. I went back into the
what makes you bring up To Kill a Mockingbird, just out of curiosity?
Because of the dynamics between blacks and whites back then. The social hierarchy between blacks and whites back then. The fact that, and this is something that I was taught, I think via my grandmother, I can't remember who taught me this, but the N-word was not just directed towards blacks. All right. There were whites that were called the same thing because they are of a lower class of people.
Really?
They looked at them as less than as well. This is something that I think is missing from American history, which is why I say, let your children be inquisitive.
They don't talk about
encourage that.
They don't talk about indentured servitude.
No, they don't. They just talk about chattel slavery as if that's the only form of cheap labor that existed back then. No, it's not. I'm sorry to break it to you. And I don't believe we all came over here over a ship. I know for a fact my folks were here. I know the tribes my people come from. I was able to go back and look at old pictures of my fourth great grandfather. He don't look black. In fact, on his on the census before they started labeling everyone black and white, just in case you didn't know that, that's a more newer concept. It was either native, mulatto, or white, or what word was it? I can't remember what they categorize whites. I have to pull the documents back up.
It wasn't.
But people need to go. No, people need to go do their research. There's nothing wrong with thinking outside of the box, and there's nothing wrong, especially black people.
All right,
we were more than fucking slaves, dog. Way more than that.
What'd you say?
I thought I had it. I was asking if she's talking about the 1860 census.
No, it was 1700s.
Okay.
Way before then.
Okay, never mind. Only 1860.
Pro-segregation. Hey, I'm not opposed to it. Repeal the Civil Rights Act. Let's go for it. We did way better when we were separated from whites. Tell me I'm wrong.
I wasn't alive, so I don't know.
We did way better. Our families were intact. The single parent homes were at 20% and lower. We worked harder. We had drive. We created our own cities, became doctors, lawyers, were elected into office. All these things were happening prior to Reconstruction and after, and it didn't stop until the government came and stuck their nose into people's businesses because, yes, they had a major hand in rendering a lot of Black people jobless. They did. So good intentions have bad outcomes. I don't believe in solutions. I believe in trade-offs. And more people need to adopt that mindset.
We were doing good until, people came and started ruining everything we built up. Not talking about the government either.
Yeah.
You
See, I'm too far removed. I'm 33. My mom was born in the civil rights era. Her mother was born during the whole, racism, Black codes. My grandmother was around when there were still plantations. In fact, her family owned and lived on one. So that emotional connection is not there for me. It's kind of like you are slapping so many people who came before us in the face by saying, well, they tore it down. Well, rebuild it. Stop talking about the most egregious, traumatic parts of history that you yourself, and I'm not talking to you personally, but you didn't physically go through it. So who the hell do you think you are to pick up that mantle and throw it on your back and you think you're carrying something around with pride? It's disrespectful.
But
it's
it also
disrespectful.
It has a ripple effect though through generations, right? Because that also signifies wealth, right? So you have the opportunity. You've been building things up only to get it torn down to rebuild it again. You don't have the opportunity to keep it established to pass down generations. Not even to take into account, the fact that people really can get loans, right? Lending is a big thing to prevent our community from being built up. So I don't know. I think it's just a lot. A lot.
We need to be better with money.
Oh, very much so.
First thing we want to go do is go. The Jewish dollar stays in the Jewish community, I want to say, for 7 days before it ever leaves it. So it circulates amongst our own community before it leaves it. Black people want discounts.
Yeah.
Can I get a discount on that shirt? I got people ask me that all the time. You can't, bro. Your hoodies cost a lot. Can I get like a code? No, nigga. Pay the full price that you would pay Gucci. What the hell's wrong with you?
100%. Because but you're the homie though, right? So they can't support you, but they'll go support like you said, these designer labels because they see value in that.
Oh man.
No, you're right.
No, you better pay for my hoodie. You know how long it took for me to come up with this stuff?
By the way, thanks for the code.
Soonie, they don't sell your hoodie at Rent-A-Center.
No, they ain't got my hoodies on Rent-A-Center for rent. You can put it on layaway and purchase it over. You can, what is it called? Finance a Soonie hoodie if you would like. Yeah, right.
In 6 easy payments. Actually, you can go through the what's that pay program now that they have a firm, or they have like a firm, or like those ones where you could like pay it over time. You can do that.
Ridiculous.
How much is a hoodie, Soonie?
My hoodies?
Yeah.
They run 40, 45.
That's not that for a hoodie? That's not a lot.
Yeah. I know. We actually hiked the price down so that people felt more comfortable spending with us, but
Yeah, no, that's not a lot. Yeah.
Do you do layaway? Nope.
You do layaway.
Better come out your pocket.
See, here we go. Here we go with the
Absolutely
layaway.
Not.
This is a good transition into the next topic, which is The View, Sunny Hostin. She was on the ABC talk show called Finding Your Roots. A lot of celebrities have done this show, and it's where they take them through, their generation, and they tell them who their family members were and all this other stuff. So the show's host, Henry Louis Gates, revealed to Hostin that one of her ancestors on her maternal side was likely involved in the slave trade in colonial Spain and owned at least one human being. I love how they say that, human being. What else would it be?
Because they don't want to say the race.
Though she acknowledged the news with the panel, she insisted that she is that she still is deserved reparations, okay, even though her family owned slaves. She added, I still believe in reparations. I still believe this country has a lot to do in terms of racial justice. And I was deeply disappointed in these revelations about my family. Let me play the clip so y'all can see her say it. But I thought it was kind of...
She's a Eurocentric wannabe Afro-Latina is what she is.
Yeah, here we go.
She didn't even look black.
I was deeply disappointed.
The slave thing is a bummer.
It's a bummer.
It's a bummer.
Yeah,
That's
man.
a damn shame.
That ruined my day.
You know what? You know what I'm really surprised when they were done talking about this? I'm really surprised they didn't say, well, I mean, in actuality, slavery was legal. I'm surprised they didn't bring that up.
On that topic, I was watching MSNBC earlier today, and somebody was talking to, I forgot who they were talking to, but they're talking about, I think, Katie Tur, and some dude comes on talking about, like, George Washington was a great president, aside from, him owning slaves, he was I'm like, that was the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't go back and apologize for every single thing that happened during the certain time when things were okay, where they're acceptable.
Right. Exactly. All right, let's continue.
I still believe in reparations, by the way, so y'all can stop texting me and emailing me and saying that I'm a white girl and that I don't deserve reparations.
You don't.
Someone did that to you?
Yeah, I don't know who sent her a thing telling her she was a white girl.
Okay, it's
she cut with something.
But clean off your television screen.
Yeah, that's a lot. So I still believe in reparations. I still believe this country has a lot to do in terms of racial justice. But what I would say, Sarah, to your question is that I feel that I'm enriched by knowing that history. I'm enriched, and I'm enriched by knowing that my family has come so far from being enslavers to my mother marrying my father in 1968.
She's gonna be more she's gonna be so pro-black, like
Yeah, well, she already is.
But sometimes it goes one of two ways when you cut with something, right? Like if you go to the black side, you go really far,
Yeah,
like pushing the cause.
Hey, you know what? I want to throw you a bone, Jaron, because I know you love this person, and we just need like a quick music break really quick, but check this out.
We finna go out, yeah. Where the niggas at? It's looking like a drought. My mama got the kids. I'm getting out this house. All in the club, bouncing there, showing out. The dip gloss popping, bitch, I'm show stopping. Looking like a snake, baby daddy cock rocking. Talk to the mix. I'm the trend.
I can't. Okay.
Oh, God, I love her so much.
I hate you.
Right after she gave birth, she did that. I just love her. I love her. I think that's what it is. Like, you love Trump. No, I'm not being funny here, but no.
Why you always gotta bring it back to Trump?
But because you love Trump because he's authentically himself, right? In a way.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about her. I know it doesn't make sense, but I just connected. That's how I feel about her. She's just being her. And it's like, she's not apologizing for anything. She's just out there.
Oh no, she's not apologizing.
She doesn't care what people, if she says something, she doesn't care if she offends you. She doesn't care what you think about her. She's going to do her, and that's it.
But you know what? Like, one day your child is going to see that of you dancing around after giving birth, looking crazy, talking about my baby daddy. I don't give a fuck.
Again, she's just doing her. She's
Soonie,
doing her.
Speak some sense into this moment, please. Come on now. Please, Soonie.
I love it.
Please, Soonie.
I don't think I should. I get sensitive about this topic. I really do. Because number one, it's disrespectful to Black women. This taints our image.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a baby daddy. Number one, I have a husband. And I have one father to my children that I married that man. And I've been with him ever since. So this taints the image of Black women that's already fucking tainted. So the fact that we celebrate this, it's a spit in the face. This is just like, how do you complain about a Trump, about any racist crap at all,
Jaron,
when this is on the forefront
talking to you
as the voice of Black people? Why do you think so many people in politics don't even know how to talk to me? Because they're like, well, what do you want? I want the same shit you want. I want the government to be out of my business. I want my weapons. I want my taxes to be lowered. I want money in my pocket. But because of this negative stereotype that is on blast, okay, Sukiana represents me whether I want her to or not.
Oh,
and she is the most vile, disgusting depiction of what Black women are. I speak properly. I read books. I know what a musician is. I didn't need like you just embarrassed yourself. Look at her. She looks like a character from freaking Babs. When I was a young girl, that was something you made fun of. It was not cool to walk around and be ghetto. It was not cool to walk around and be loose with yourself. That's not how we carried ourselves.
Yeah.
I wish we could go back. You know what? I would rather be alive in the times of segregation and slavery than to be a part of this now, because the depiction of Black people is absolutely disgusting. It's so disgusting.
What would the white equivalent of like Suki or Sexy Red be? Like
we don't. Kim Kardashian. That's it.
No, I'm talking like if somebody, for example, is like super proud to be a good old boy, right? Like I'm trying to think of like the equivalent, because there are certain people. Okay, I'm just gonna go pick up the word. Yeah, I'll be free in a second. Okay, sorry, the text message came through. But there are people though in her walk of life. That's also I see what you're saying. Like it does depict the hypersexualization of Black women and like those tropes that exist historically. But there's also people, like there's a segment of the population who look and act like her.
Yeah, there is.
Whether we like it or not.
There is,
but they speak for us. That's the problem.
That's the
because
problem.
I'm not allowed to get on TV and say my thoughts, or I'm a coon and I'm a sellout. But you can have these disgusting bitches up there twerking, my pussy pink, my booty hole brown. I don't talk like that. I don't talk like that. I respect myself. I don't get on stage and objectify my body. That does not speak for all Black women. No different than the thuggery of rap music speaks for Black men. There are more Black men who work a 9-to-5. They're law-abiding citizens, and they don't care to deal with whores and sleuths and all these other things. But that is a representation of us, and we celebrate it. We celebrate it like it is something to be proud of. No, it's not. It's disgusting and it's vile.
And you know what? If Taylor Swift were to come out all of a sudden talk about my pussy pink, my booty hole brown, people would be like, "Come on now, Taylor, you're better than that."
No, they say that's a bar. Like she wrote a fantastic.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. They'd be
they're
like,
Taylor Swift invented the most fantastic lyric ever.
Nah, what was that?
No, I'm saying if Taylor were to put my pussy pink, my booty hole brown into one of her songs, it'd be like, oh man, she came through. She came through with a bar.
If she said my booty hole brown, I'd be like, you better wipe that thing better because it shouldn't be brown.
Get it bleached. But I still just think that I don't know if it's like, to me, they're just being authentically themselves. Like there is just there's a person out there like that. You know, I mean, maybe I don't think it's dumbing anything. I get that. Yeah, unfortunately, this is who we put to the forefront, start celebrating.
Yeah.
Well,
I wanted to bring this interview up really quick because first off, for those of you guys that don't know about Bobbi Althoff and aren't familiar with her really good podcast show, she has a shtick, which is she loves to give this like really dry interview and kind of make the interview very awkward. I'm actually a fan of her interviews because I find them I find them entertaining. But I do want to say this is a very highly followed influencer had posted about this interview and said this has to be satire. And I actually know this person, so I reached out and I was like, yeah, it is satire. And then I saw that this person made an entire video to talk about the way Sukiana responded in this interview, which I will play in a second, basically highlighting the fact that the interview, the way that they wanted it to look was that Sukiana was an idiot, which I've watched enough of Bobby's interviews to know that I know Sukiana is not this dumb. This is just how she was playing along for this type of interview that Bobby does. I'll play in a second, but what'd you have to say?
I don't like this Bobbi Althoff girl. First off, she's getting a divorce, so
yeah, she is now.
because of that Drake interview. That's right. They're saying, but she has this thing in which have you noticed that she always goes, or a lot of times, majority of the interviews I've seen from her are with black entertainers.
Mm-hmm.
And she has this thing in which she makes them look dumb or aggressive. It's
well, she did it with Mark Cuban. She had an interview with Mark Cuban and made him look dumb.
That too. But I mean, the majority, from at least what I've seen or what goes viral, is putting black people in, like making her look like she's sweet, innocent, and like her interview subject is just stupid or aggressive or, like that's why I don't.
That's what Soonie's
you already know
about.
You already know where I'm about to go with this, don't you?
Where you going? Where you going? Go. Let's go.
See, look, you have an issue because a white woman is making, number one, she don't make them look stupid. They make themselves look stupid. They know when they go on there what type of interview they're going for. She's too viral for you to be that dumb.
Right.
So you're expressing an issue, and it's your issue. You're allowed to have it. But you're expressing an issue with this white woman making these black folks look stupid. But then when these black folks make themselves look stupid, such as Sexy Red, busting it open on a hospital bed after you just gave birth, you're like, ooh, she's authentically her. What's the difference?
No, I'm not saying like that. I'm saying people are automatically. So if you play back with her, right? Like if you're throwing it back to Bobby, then you're dumb. Like there's no possible way for you to be playing along with the joke. Like everything I've seen from people commenting on whomever she's interviewing that happens to be a black celebrity, that person's an idiot. They don't get the joke. They're just stupid, right? It's like in this case of Suki, I think she was trolling Bobby back, but all of a sudden it's becoming, Suki's an idiot. She doesn't know the difference between a musician or a magician. Like that's been an ongoing thing with these interviews with her.
But this is what's messed up is Bobby's people cut that piece out of the interview and they made that go viral and with no context because they know that like the person that I explained it to that I'm like, this is satire. This isn't real. Okay. It's sad that she participated in making herself look dumb. And then Bobby's team went out and cut that and put it out knowing damn well there's going to be people that are going to listen to that and go, she's an idiot.
Yep.
Let's
we don't
play
control our own image.
Yeah.
We don't control our own image.
Here we go.
You're a musician. But that's why I'm interviewing you today, so I can get to know you.
So I'm a musician.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck that mean? Make magic or something? What is musician?
I think you're confusing that.
Yeah, I'm not no musician. I make music. I make music. And that's not all I do. I make music. I act. I'm a TV star too, a young mogul.
Just really quick, I think you're confusing.
I'm not confusing nothing because you don't know. You thought that all I was a magician or whatever the fuck you said.
See, that's what I think you think I said.
No,
I said musician, not magician.
I don't think, baby. I don't think. What is that? That's ghetto.
She's clearly playing.
So you
think.
I didn't say magician, Suki. I said musician. And I think you are a musician.
No, baby. I do music.
So you just really quick. For the record, could you say you don't think you're a musician?
Not none of that.
But then after that, you just said I do music.
Yeah, I do music.
So in other words, you're a musician.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
What do you know?
So I watched the whole entire interview, and prior to that whole conversation taking place, they were having a conversation about what's that Suki likes to act, and they went through this whole skit of, okay, well, show me that you can cry on cue, and so Bobby was giving her this scenario and Sukiana like began to cry. And then she told Bobby, hey, can you do the same thing? And so they went into this whole thing. So the whole interview, if you watch it, is Sukiana showing her acting chops, like in a sense, her ability to play up against a character, which Bobby is a character. She's not the person you see in those interviews is not who she is in real life.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, whenever people play back with her or play a character as well, they're an idiot. That she's the only smart one in of the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And nobody questions, oh, isn't this weird that this white girl, Bobby, came out of nowhere and like just shot up to the top so quick and all of a sudden had access to all these people?
She was a mom TikToker at one point, I believe.
She was. Yeah, she had a TikTok account. Yeah. So it was really interesting how, just like everything else, people get plucked out of the ether and chosen. And now her whole life is falling apart. You know, she started getting Botox. She started drinking with her girlfriends and putting that on the gram. And then now her husband's leaving her. Single mom, 2 kids, a white woman being left by her baby daddy.
They ain't gonna talk about that.
They ain't gonna talk about that though.
It's because that Drake interview, you see them in bed together, how cozy they got.
Because Drake's penis is now all over the place. That's why.
Oh yeah, he was doing this right here with it.
Oh, I saw the video. I was like, good Lord.
I've only seen all the memes on the GIFs on Twitter about people showing like baby elephants shaking their trunks. I'm like, I'm not interested. Ask my wife though. She probably looked it up. I think she. You know.
Yeah, I wasn't. I mean, I was just like, I guess people. I don't know.
I don't even know what y'all are talking about. Praise the Lord.
Apparently, Drake's penis. Well, not apparently. Drake's penis got leaked by some girl that he was with.
And everybody's talking about it. Even
everybody's talking about it because it's huge. Apparently, well, it's not. I wasn't that impressed. I was like, what? Whatever. I've seen bigger.
They're like, he has a missile. He has a missile. He's like, you know, he's like an elephant trunk.
Yeah, they have like doctors weighing in on whether it's like he got a penis enlargement and all this other stuff. It's so crazy. It's so crazy, but whatever. Anyways, you got to get to your baby mama.
Yeah,
I know she's hungry.
Yeah, no, she wants me to also pick up the food. I mean, the order at Walmart.
Okay.
The drive up grocery order.
Is she downstairs dancing on the couch like Sexy Red?
that is after. That's after the baby comes out. So I'm gonna make sure I play that Sexy Red video for inspiration for her on delivery day.
Tell her to do like a TikTok, like a remake.
What I'm gonna do though, I'm gonna do like how they did Kate after she had the baby. You know, like not even 6 hours later, like 2 hours later, just make you come out fully dressed,
makeup,
smiling at everybody. Yeah, you know, like all right, we doing this. Let's go.
Exactly. All right. Well, we'll let you go.
Thank you guys for having me on.
All right. Well, we'll see you next Friday.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye. All right. What else we got, Soonie? What else we got?
I think you went through all my topics. To be honest.
Hold on. Let me go back to our list and see. We talked about Sunny. We talked about Suki. Yeah, I think we've gotten through all the topics. You know what I'm excited about? There is a Wendy Williams documentary coming out.
Yeah.
And I am here for it. You guys, if you're interested in Wendy Williams, I will be talking about it because I'm going to watch this. It's going to be, I think, on Lifetime or something. I don't know. But it looks fascinating. Wendy is sitting down for an interview and she is dishing. And the reason why I'm here for it is because there's a whole lot of people dishing. I just watched the Monique interview with Shannon Sharp, which I thought was fascinating. Then they had the Cat Williams. Yeah, it's all very juicy. I may be the only one interested in that, but
it's called karma. She spent years prying into other people's businesses, making fun of their misfortune with content on her. What's that show she had on BT? Was it the Wendy Williams show?
Yeah,
the Wendy Williams. Embarrass people, ask people uncomfortable questions, and now she's like broke as hell, going through some sort of mental breakdown. I don't feel bad for her at all.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it though, just because I want to see her downfall, but I won't celebrate it.
Have you seen the trailer for this?
Mm-hmm. I'm broke.
Let me play it for the people since we got some time, since we got some open time. Let me play it for the people. Here we go.
From 6 years old, all I wanted was to be famous. Showtime. There's only one Wendy Williams.
The boss is walking, everybody.
Nobody can do it like Wendy. No one.
People love Wendy. You are a star to all of us.
She was in her living room every single day for 12 years.
Yep, I guess that'll do.
And that's what people responded to, her authenticity. And then at the peak of her career, she was gone.
What did she provide? Like,
I loved her.
Are we ready?
Yeah, waiting on you.
All right. And away we go.
Love you, Wendy.
All I know is how to be famous. I really want to be back on television.
You're gonna be back on TV. That's easy.
My mom has done a great job making it seem like everything is okay always.
When do you make sure you look here? 1, 2, 3.
But in reality, there's something wrong going on.
Did you see a neurologist to find out if I'm crazy? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. I have to sit down again.
She got put in front of a judge and given a guardian. That was when they took her away from us.
I have no money. And I'm going to tell you something. If it happens to me, it could happen to you.
As her family, we were all sitting on the sidelines watching, and she was crying out for help.
Did you drink this whole thing today?
Keep it there.
Okay.
Keep it there.
My mom, she always talks about how she wants to work. But I feel as though she's worked enough.
She has people around who are yes people and allowing this to continue.
This is all too much. Go! Fine! I have no idea where we are. This doesn't look like anything familiar.
I think she's losing memory. Have you guys noticed that?
How dare him? I control men. I weigh 138.
Anybody could look at her and tell this is not just alcohol. There's something more going on.
Girl, that look at the end.
Good.
I can't wait.
Whitney Houston's coming back from her grave to come at Wendy. That interview will forever be iconic.
Ooh, that when she interviewed Whitney. Oh,
like, mind your business. You don't know me, but you talk about me all the time.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
I don't know. I think this happens to people when they I think that this is I want to say natural, but
natural selection, like a natural, like a
no. What's the Bible verse? I was teaching this to my daughter. I can't remember the Bible verse, but we were trying to teach her about how kindness is reciprocated.
Yeah.
When you put out kindness, you get kindness back. My husband doesn't like the word karma, but I'm going to use it. What goes up must come down. Mm-hmm. You know, everything that you put out into the world, you are going to get back in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Mm-hmm. And her thirst for fame had her doing very unethical things. Like, I think prying into people's personal lives is probably one of the most disgusting things you can do to someone. Just because you want to get some sort of gratification out of it, and then you want to put it out for the rest of the nation to comment on. Well, these people could really be going through something. You're spending time making a mockery out of someone else's trauma. That's essentially what she did with her entire career. She made fun of people and their trauma. She talked about celebrities. I don't think, and I'm biased on this because I come from a family of celebrities. My uncles, my father, I don't like it. To like when TMZ pried into my family's business and they had my uncle plastered everywhere. That was a traumatic thing. It was embarrassing. But we don't think of who's affected afterwards. It's just like, ooh, we have this juicy, salacious story of someone else's life.
But okay, so her niche was like celebrities, right? I mean, when you think about it, our niche is a little bit of a lot of things, culture, politics, whatever, right? We do essentially the same thing. We dig into things and provide information for people and allow them to make their own judgments, which is what she did. I feel, I mean, I was an avid watcher of her show. So I would watch, and I've been listening to her since her days back in the radio in New York. And yeah, I mean, she would ask people questions that nobody would dare ask, but I'd look at people like Tucker Carlson. He does the same thing. Right. But for whatever reason, you know, Monique said this in her interview with Shannon, is she said, you know, sometimes we like to focus not on the message, but if we don't like the package that is delivering the message, the messenger, we immediately shut it down. And I agree with that. Right. Like I may not think it's cool the way Wendy would question guests or talk about certain topics, right? But that was her job. That is what her talent was. And just like we do the same thing on our end of the spectrum, just like Tucker does it, just like Candace does it. Your friend, what's his name? Oh my God, bald head, insignificant. Tyler, you know, he does the same thing. He loves to provoke people, and that's how he builds his platform, is he makes his platform on provoking people. So, I mean, I think it's fair game in the industry, right? What I think is sad is how the industry will use you, chew you up, and spit you out. You know, they've done it to Wendy. You know, we see it with people like Monique. You know, that they quickly cancel people that they don't like what they say or how they behave. And I don't know what happened with Wendy, that all of a sudden she went from being super, super hot to all of a sudden going downhill. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was like a combination of her health issues with her grave disease, her divorce with her husband, that she just lost it and they just couldn't stand by her anymore. I don't know. But I find it fascinating in general, the way people don't recognize how this industry can be cruel to people. That is the industry. What? Cocaine, Kevin says. Con says cocaine. I think she
disagree on this one. I don't think I pry into people's personal lives. I don't really care what Joe Biden's got going on personally. I don't care. I don't comment on scandals. I comment on information that's pertinent to politics. I can care
but not
less
everybody
about
but not everybody agrees with what
Ashley.
you comment. Right.
Sure,
no, I'm not
but
saying.
I don't think I do what Wendy Williams does. Wendy Williams is not providing a service. Wendy Williams is being nosy into people's personal lives and broadcasting it to the public. I'm not nosy into anyone's personal life. We're talking about politics.
Right. But what I'm saying is it's a form of entertainment, right? Just like you don't like the style of like Shannon and Ocho's show, right? But there's people that do like it. That's why their platform does so well. Same thing with this Bobby Altoff person. There are people that do like it. Same thing with Sukiana. It's not my cup of tea, but there's people that like it, right? That's the point. Is just because you can justify what you personally do or what I personally do doesn't mean that it's the right thing and everybody's going to agree with it. It's the same thing with Wendy. You know, I'm not justifying what she did. I just found it entertaining. That's all I'm saying. I found it entertaining. I enjoyed watching it. I love the way she delivered celebrity information. And most of the time, she was pretty right. I can't think of a time Wendy wasn't spot on about something. She called out Diddy before anybody was calling out Diddy. You know? So she's messy. I love it. I love it. She's my guilty pleasure. I wish she was still on the air.
I'm glad she's off. Keep her off.
Yeah. They don't make up.
Clearly got a mental illness she needs to fix. And prying into someone else's life is not the priority for her. Although she wants to be famous again, which is fucking weird within itself, but whatever.
It's her livelihood.
I won't be watching it. I'll be watching it just to see what happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't talk about it. Like, wow, it's going to be sad. I just hope she gets it together. Whatever her disease is, whatever she's going through personally, I hope she figures it out. And I hope she stays off of the internet being messy. Maybe it's because I grew up hearing constant gossiping. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between conversing with your friend about something that's going on and then talking about someone that you literally have no ties to and you're just talking about their personal business. That I don't do that, bro. I might be like, dude, I don't like this person. I don't like that they did this, this, and this, but I guarantee you I'm involved in some way. And if I'm not involved, it's got something to do with politics. I don't like that, bro. Like I would watch my mother be friends with somebody and then go talk about them like a dog behind their back and go share their personal business that they gave her. Yeah. I don't do shit like that. Like when somebody tells me something, it's in confidence. unless I trust the person enough to say, like, I really need to get this off of me because I don't know what to do with it. I will do that.
Yeah.
But I'm telling a person that I know is not going to be messy and go, well, Soonie told me this, that, and the third. Like, bro, what the fuck?
But there's
I
a
didn't
market.
tell you that to go tell people.
See, there's not
There
a market.
I know there's a market, and I don't think there should be.
I disagree. Okay. Of course there's not a market for like the stories you and I were exchanging this weekend about our trips, right? Nobody wants to hear about that but us. Like, nobody really understands, right? That's just between us. Okay. But there's a market for people who want to hear celebrity gossip. And Wendy just does it well. She does it well. That's just the truth. She's messy. Just like with the Breakfast Club, right? There's a market for that. If this freaking light falls,
That's the Lord telling you to stop being messy. He said,
no, I ain't listening, Lord. You know me. Okay. I love me some Wendy, Lord. Listen up. You know I be watching the Wendy Williams show. Come on now.
That part. You listen, everybody in church know your business. Look, there would be people I don't even freaking know that would know something that happened between me and my mom. Like, yo, how you and your mom doing? What are you talking about? Why do you know this? I don't even know you, and you know my business.
Right.
This is one of the main reasons I don't want fame, because I will snap and have an attitude. You get me on a show, or you get me on an interview and you feel like asking personal questions, it's going to be a PR media storm, because I'm going to cuss you out and the people on set with you that decided to have you ask me these questions.
Yeah.
Like, we have no decorum or couth anymore.
We sure don't. But
don't be asking people personal shit, man. Dang.
I'm here for it. Don't ask me personal shit, but I will ask you all damn day. And if you answer it, that's on you. I will get in your business if you let me. That's all I gotta say.
Don't do it.
That's why I liked Wendy, because people allowed her to get in their business. She just had a way with people. There were people she talked so much shit about, and they would come on her couch and let her do an interview. And I was like, man.
That's called desperation, that of which I do not suffer from.
Like I said, there's a market for it.
Breaking news, Trump indicted for calling Egypt Mexico on his press conference. Welp, too bad that was Biden.
Too bad.
Nobody's going to talk about it because it's Biden. You guys should go watch that Putin and Tuckerson interview. I call him Tuckerson.
Tuckerson?
I don't like calling him. I do. I call him that. Putin calls out American propaganda, which is one of the most exciting parts of the interview. You guys should go watch that part, where he talks about how America never loses because of the massive propaganda machine that we run with legacy media. And it's true. It is true. Go watch it. Damani.
Mexican word of the day: denial. Denial is in Egypt, where President
CC controls the Mexican.
CC controls the Mexican.
Country is a laughing stock of the world, man.
It really is, man. It really is. It's getting really sad, and that Putin interview only highlighted that even more to me.
Did you guys like the what did you think? Because I gotta go in a minute. What did you think of the back and forth between me and Jaron?
I thought it was, you know what? Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. I thought it was good, and that's why we have somebody like Jaron on the show. And I don't want to say somebody like him, like he's suffering from some type of like sickness, but it's good to have. We want you guys to see the discussion. You know, like we want you guys to see the outcome of the discussion. And I think it's good that that discussion took place. And maybe Jaron will go away thinking about it a little bit more. And, you know, as we grow in our discussions that we have with Jaron about certain topics that we may not all agree on, I think that's amazing. That is the purpose of Somewhere in the Middle. And I was a little disappointed with some of the people in the comments because they were like, oh, you're an idiot. And you don't know what you're talking about. I can't listen to this. And see, you people need to get a hold of yourself, okay? Because you need to be able to listen when there's somebody in the room that doesn't match what you think. That's what the problem is in this world, is we can't sit in a room and just listen to other people's opinions and have an adult grown-up conversation about what we think. or what we disagree with. It has to immediately go to you're dumb, you're gay, you're an idiot, you suck. Like the amount of comments that I saw that I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? He has a right to think what he wants to think. Right? Yeah. He may not be informed. That's why we have a show together. So we can maybe help to inform one another on both sides.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
What'd you
nice
think?
addition to the show. I held back because I'm like, you know what? I know I am very opinionated in the realm of politics.
Yeah.
But I don't come from an uneducated I don't come from an uneducated view of it. I'm coming with, these are the facts. These are things that you can go research. These are things that you can go read, which is why I questioned him on, did you actually read that special counsel report? No, I skimmed it.
Yeah.
There's no way you skim it and then come on here with an opinion and then try to compare it to Trump. Well, he says, I don't recall. That's like him saying repeal, not repeal, oh Lord, repeal the 19th. But that's like him saying, I plead the 5th. I don't remember.
Right.
I don't recall. That's just what people do in court. It's a smart thing to do so that they can't trap you in answering anything or, you know, go back and say, well, you said this before.
Yeah. He reminds me of liberal Justin.
So if anything, it's nice to have someone on who does not agree.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have someone on who is somewhat, I guess, as knowledgeable as me in the political sphere, because just more times than not, we agree. And if we don't agree, you're like, well, I didn't go that far into it. So we can't even really have a conversation versus with him. I can have conversation about, you know, legislation, laws. He knows the clauses in the Constitution, certain things. We can have banter back and forth on, you know, the representation of blacks, which I hope he really heard what I was saying, because he's a black man. Okay. And at the end of the day, you're supposed to be leaders and you are okaying this behavior. And nah, bro. Nah.
Yeah. And even if it's like jokingly, right? Because like that's how I'm kind of taking it. Like he's like being funny, like with Wendy, right? Like when we talk about Wendy, like I'm just like, I love it. You know, you're just like, no, she's completely an idiot.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's important that people see that he understands what you're saying, right? Like even though he's jokingly, right? It's the same thing like with when we were talking about Wendy. I understand what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from. I still love Wendy for my own personal reasons. But I totally get what you're saying. And I think that, you know, when we were talking about the Biden thing with him, you know, when I said we need to be able to speak about people without comparing, especially when it comes to Joe and Trump, to stop saying, well, but Trump, we're not talking about Trump. We're talking about this man's brain, and it's not stable. And we need to stay right there on the brain. Okay. We don't need to talk about Trump, and we don't need to talk about what Bar-Lago documents, because that had nothing to do with anything. But that is the usual go-to for people. But on both sides, because Trump people do the same thing. When you go and criticize something Trump did, they say, well, Biden. No, we're not talking about Biden. We're talking about Trump. See? And I think it's good. I think hopefully our show will teach people how to have conversations like that.
Yeah, we should keep having those. And I agree, for the people who are like, I just can't watch. This is not an echo chamber. I don't host echo chamber lives outside of this. A lot of times I don't agree with most conservatives. So we should definitely allow these conversations to happen, because if not, you run into a Fox News, you run into Daily Wire, where they're just up there saying things that make you feel good. And it's not what I'm here for. It's not what Mo is here for. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to make you think. It's that simple for me. Yeah. I want you to think. I could have pissed you off to no end, but I guarantee you're going to leave a conversation with me or from me. You're going to leave that conversation thinking like, dang, well, she said this. I'm about to go look that up. There's been plenty of people who've done that. Bro, I tried to fact check what you were saying and like, damn, you were right. I got to respect it.
Listen, I'm about to go look up the Catilda right now. What is it called? Clotilda?
Clotilda.
Clotilda?
Yeah. And you know what?
Down that rabbit hole.
Jaron's gonna go do that too because he's like, no, I believe in the slave trade. But his head did this. He was listening to me like, bro, what?
Yes,
I guarantee you, he goes to look everything I talked about up.
And he was quiet too. Like, wait, what? They never like he was like, I said it out loud, but I know in his head he was like, what do you mean they never found a slave ship?
They ain't never found no slave ship. Listen, y'all go look up the Clotilda. Go watch the documentary. There's like 4 documentaries on. I've watched all of them.
Yeah.
And you can go to the Library of Congress and pull all these documents up. You can pull court documents. I've read court documents from 1600s where black people were beating the crap out of whites in court over land.
Yeah.
The one thing that we claim we never had access to.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's funny about that statement, by the way, in the Full View episode where Sunny was talking about her family owning slaves? Whoopi bragged on that same episode how her family got the 300 acres and a mule. She said, we went and fought in court for it. My family went and fought in court for just what you just said. She said it on TV and I was like,
how you win? You're black. How does that work?
How did that happen? So long ago, your ancestors were able to go to court?
Oh
the
my
law
gosh.
recognized them? Heard them out? Oh my Lord. These people are crazy. Crazy.
Cray.
Kevin, real quick, last thing. He asked, what songs do you want Usher to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show? Last I heard, there was an Usher concert happening during a football game. I don't know nothing about no Super Bowl. Okay.
He's performing the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying in my mind, there's an Usher concert happening in the middle of a football game. Not there's a Super Bowl. I'm not interested in the Super Bowl.
I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna be honest with you, man.
We have to watch it because we have to comment on this stuff.
I don't know, man. He's gonna have Monica up there, and you know,
and he's also gonna have Alicia Keys.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to have somebody hollering at me on the mic. I don't know if I could do it, y'all. You know, I was excited for Rihanna, and Rihanna let me down. And you get Usher's old ass coming on stage. If he does all of his old music, then I'm in there. But
Yeah,
the second he does something new, I'm tuning out.
No, I think that's exactly what he's going to do. I don't think Usher's going to disappoint at all. I think he's going to deliver an amazing show.
We shall see.
Go Chiefs. Judy.
Look, the Down syndrome quarterback ain't gonna win. All right, Niner gang is gonna win. Kermit the Frog. He sounds like Kermit the Frog.
He does. Did you see that his wife got a Sports Illustrated spread?
See, listen, I don't think you believe me when I say I do not know a damn thing that goes on with celebrities unless you tell me, or unless it comes across my feed.
Then this is why I'm here. Be glad that I care about this stuff because I bring the other side. You talk to us about bricks, and I talk to you about Sports Illustrated.
Not you raising your hand. I was like, bro, there's going to be a plethora of people talking about bricks and geopolitics that don't know what the hell you're talking about. You were like,
yes, because see, here's another thing that's great about our show, people, is there's those of you that resonate with Soonie and you know all about everything. Okay. I'm here to make it okay to not know all about everything. Because I don't, Soonie will tell you, I messaged her and I said, hey, when you get to the part in the interview about bricks, I want you to kind of like educate me on that a little bit, because just like Soonie's not going to go research about Brittany Murphy being in Sports Illustrated, Mo ain't going to go read about bricks. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Bricks is very complicated from what I have read about it. And Soonie, that's where she really excels, is she knows that stuff inside and out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just because I didn't get to that in the show. All he was saying with that bricks portion of the show is they only accounted for, I think it was 22% of the market. And now they have exceeded the G7. So what he's saying is the UN has had a major influence globally. And now that's starting to dwindle because of what we were talking about earlier when it came to Muammar Gaddafi, when it came to bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, and many other people that they have labeled tyrants. I do not agree. You got to look at the camera and say this now. I do not agree with their acts or their actions, but I'm not going to negate the things that they were saying before it got to that portion. Yes, what they did was disgusting. They killed American citizens, and their hatred for America is disgusting. It's deplorable. It is something that I will condemn until the day I die. But BRICS has risen because NATO is so useless. Russia is a part of BRICS and has been for a number of years because NATO is expanding, which is an agreement that America came up with Russia to not expand NATO. They also don't want Ukraine.
Was it China?
I want to say China started it off. And then, so it's Brazil, Russia, Iran, Cuba, Saudi Arabia.
And didn't Argentina now join it?
I think they're in talks of joining it, but I'm not too sure.
Mm-hmm.
There's just another competing force that's saying this is pretty much what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to do your job and act as the world's police, act as a humanitarian that you say you're this humanitarian organization that you say you're going to be, then we're just going to create our own faction, and we'll make sure that international laws are not being broken, so on and so forth. And yes, they do want to compete with America as far as trade goes. That's a natural thing. World powers want to do that. But I think people treat BRICS like the big bad boogeyman that is going to come in and change the way we trade oil. I think something drastic would have to happen in order for us to no longer trade oil in the U.S.
With the
currency.
U.S. dollar. Yeah.
Right. So that's pretty much what it is. But it scared people because he's not lying. They are gaining momentum. They are gaining influence. And NATO is shitting their pants. They are trying to label him an evil tyrant. All these other things. I won't be surprised if they try to take Putin out at this point.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised. You all shouldn't be surprised. If he does end up unalived, you shouldn't be surprised because all you get to do is witness of, the history that you were a part of that's, unfolding right before your eyes.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, they had already started that rumor that he had cancer, remember? And then I was like, well,
I do remember that.
I was like, he looks hella healthy to me. He looked really good, actually. I was like, for somebody who's dying of cancer, which was the rumor, he looking good to me.
We'll see.
He looks really good. Yeah, we'll see.
Look, I'm gonna say this stumbling face. I'm excited for this time period. I am. I can't wait to see all the people who come out and say BRICS and don't know what the hell they're talking about because I get to come in and say, actually, no, you're wrong on this.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that, especially conservative commentators, bro. I am looking forward to making fun of and debunking so many videos.
Yeah. Hey, and shout out to Putin, by the way, who many of you guys may not know this, but he fully understands and speaks English and never does an interview in English. He sits there and makes them get all types of earpieces and translators and whatnot. Dude, I thought it was funny where people were like, Putin sounded really sincere and, he took his time to answer the questions. I was like, the time he took was because he had to wait for the translator in his ear to tell him, even though he knows. So
I think he understands English perfectly fine.
No, he does. Because Trump actually came out and said, I have conversations with him in English all the time. He fully understands English, but he's a genius, right? So when he does these interviews, he buys himself time in listening to the person translating when he knows exactly what was said. He's genius, man. That guy really is smart. I don't care what you say. He really is smart.
Exposing CIA operatives says Andrew Tate killed the red pill. The red pill killed itself.
Right. The red pill is whack.
I don't like Andrew Tate, I mean, he's got some great takes. The fact that they're going after him is, like it is what it is. But no. Andrew Tate is still he's a cog in a machine just like the rest of us. We're all pawns.
Yeah.
That's it. Putin and Trump are controlled oppositions. Do you really believe politics? No. I don't personally.
I think everybody is controlled in one way or another. If you're a politician, I don't think anybody's coming with 100%. Whatchamacallit, honesty or sincerity. Everybody's in it for a piece of something that they want.
Yeah. So, I mean, this You're not going to get an extremely right-leaning opinion from me. You're just not going to get that. That's what you were looking for. I'm not going to argue and be like, politics is real. What are you talking about? Everybody knows. If you're still believing in the political realm, especially at a federal level in this day and age, then I would say you're behind the learning curve.
Yeah.
Way behind. I'm going to question your cognitive ability. Just like I'm questioning Joe Biden's.
Yeah.
If everyone is controlled, what's the point of voting? It's just a slave suggestion box.
It's to make you feel better. It's to make you feel like you have a voice. Just joking.
Look, I believe the one election that we had that was a real election that I got to experience was 2016. And we knew that because of how everyone reacted. Nobody knew what the fuck to do. They didn't. Hillary Clinton thought she had that election in the bag. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care.
Yeah.
There's a reason she hasn't run again.
Yeah.
But why I think voting locally is best. I think you have more power locally than you have federally.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think the presidential elections, I think there has always been some type of funny business in the presidential elections. I don't think that's anything new.
For sure. Republican and Democrats.
For sure. Yeah. 2016 was also fake. Trump literally paved the way for Israel to become supreme.
Israel's been supreme. I don't know why you act like Israel hasn't been getting crazy amounts of money from us and we haven't been bending over backwards, kissing their ass, fighting wars for them since the dawn of their creation. Like it's been happening. I think I'm not even going to get into that because it's a circular discussion. It really is. Yeah. We're just going to go back and forth about what we think and don't think. Hey, I respect your opinion. I hope you come back and watch Tuesday and then come back and watch Friday. And if you want to come up and disagree on something, feel free to come up. But I don't personally think 2016 was fake. Don't. I'm waiting for him to respond and be like,
let me tell you though, November can't come soon enough. I'm ready for another.
It's already February.
Yeah, I'm ready. I don't know. People get super excited about how these primaries are going. And they're like, Trump won Nevada. Trump won this. I already told you guys when we first started covering the primaries that primaries have never been an indication of how the actual election will go. So it's just a time filler till we get to November.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Damn, waiting for him to respond. Hurry up. Twitter fingers.
Who are you waiting for to respond?
Exposing CIA operative. I want to see what they have to say. Here we go. The war in Israel is fake too. Do you honestly think the most intelligent? You're regurgitating something that we've already discussed, buddy. I've already talked about this. Already talked about it.
Sorry, guys.
Is this chat still going? Yes, this chat is still going.
Yeah.
You guys showed up hella late.
I think some people don't see everything because if you're not watching from somewhere in the middle, you can't see all the comments unless.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So he says the world in Israel is fake too. Do you honestly think the most intelligent country in the world didn't know Hamas was invading? If a cockroach crosses the border, Israel will know.
Yeah, you're late. I already talked about this. Me and Julius talked about it, and people were like, "You're pro Hamas."
Yeah. And to be honest, we can't really talk about it much more than that because our whole entire platform will be taken down because everything's free and fair.
Yeah. America believes in your First Amendment speech. No, they don't.
Yeah. Judy says, I haven't been getting notifications like I used to. Go ahead and check and make sure that your notifications are still clicked if you are on YouTube because they do turn those off periodically.
I've been doing this for like 5 years though. It's not a competition. I don't think you're the only person who knew long before 5 years ago what Israel has been up to. This is not an unheard fact. This is not like you busting open some what is it called? Dang, what do they call it in news when there's like a breaking
news or you're breaking a story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody who doesn't know what's going on with Israel, I would say you've been living under a rock.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Anyways, come back, Mr. Exposing or Mrs. CIA operatives. I gotta get off here and make my family some lunch. Today was a fun show.
Today was a fun show. It was good to be back. And we'll be back on Tuesday, just me and Soonie. And then every Friday, Jaron joins us. So
maybe Jaron will come back and walk his statements back on Trump and abortion.
Maybe.
Because I'm going to go back and forth with him a little bit more about the Constitution. I'm going to purposefully read the 14th Amendment that he kept bringing up.
Yeah.
And the Supremacy Clause. Yeah, that's going to be fun. He said never.
He's watching us. You're supposed to be on a dinner date with your wife.
He's in the car at the Walmart waiting to pick up the groceries. That's what's going on. You're going to change your mind. You know how many people told me never? And then 3 years later, they come back and be like, damn, bro, you was right. Dang, you was right. Ask Mo.
He's in the car watching.
Mo was so down with Mr. Christian Walker. And I'm like, bro.
Yeah. Jaron, you'll find out. You'll find out the more you are with us that eventually we will have to concede to Soonie. But just know this, Mo has been right a couple times too. Okay. Yeah. All right, Jaron, you better read up on the 14th Amendment.
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Mm-hmm.
You're making me hungry. Bye. What is that?
It's an
apple.
apple.
Is that cheese? Oh,
It's
I thought that was cheese. I was about to say, get off my screen.
It's an apple. I made like a little like a plate of snacks. Like I have some pretzels and
a little white girl snack tray.
Gotcha. Little charcuterie board or whatever you call it.
You said it right.
I don't know.
All right, y'all. We're out.
All right, bye guys. Have a good one. Good weekend. Bye.
They say the song's so offensive, but only if you get offended. I can't offend you without your permission, and you don't even have to listen. They say the song's so